that it has to do with building right and talking about building collapse. And we have in the house speakers and panelists who are very, very good within that space of our workshop today. And of course, we should know we have participants equally joining us online, so it is a hybrid event. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please stand as we begin this event with the national anthem? Together we shall recite the third stanza of the national anthem as our opening prayer. Together we pray, O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen. Thank you very much, and let us have our seats. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome every one of you to the Build Right workshop. And I'm very sure before we step into activities, I would like to request that some of us who are sitting very far, just for the cameras, let us try and come close. And then please use this opportunity to just greet two persons. Two persons only. Greet them, welcome. And when you do that, please use your dialect. Don't use English. Oh yeah, let's do that quickly. Two persons, use your language. Oh. I wonder what Professor Mambo is telling Engineer Garba. I hope you are from the same place. All right, so as you do that, you just move forward. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So let me start by asking a quick question. How many of us have ever driven past a collapsed building site and wondered, could this have been prevented? If you have ever wondered, just wave your hands. Oh, good. Again, I want you to picture this. Just picture it. Imagine this. A young family saves for years to finally own a home. They moved in with excitement, only for cracks to appear within months. One rainy night, the building gives way. Dreams are shattered, lives endangered. Have you imagined that scenario? Sadly, this is not just a story. We have seen it in Lagos, in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and across our nation. Buildings collapsing due to what? Poor designs, standards, materials, weak supervision, or lack of collaboration amongst stakeholders. And that is why today, the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, under the Nigerian Society of Engineers, together with the North Central chapters of Abuja, Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, Niger, and Plateau, presents the Build Right workshop with the theme, Building Right, Building Safe, a collaborative approach to preventing building collapse. And this reminds us that safety is not optional. It is the foundation of trust, the foundation of life. And together, ladies and gentlemen, we will explore solutions, share expertise, and commit to a future where no Nigerian has to fear living under their own roof. I therefore, ladies and gentlemen, welcome you to this workshop. Can you please put your hands together for yourselves? But before we continue, I'd like to take a few recognition. The president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers is unavoidably absent. She was supposed to be here, but we didn't start on time, and they are having executive committee meeting right as we speak in the executive chambers of the NSC. And by the grace of God, we will have the NSC ESCO join us while the workshop is ongoing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here present at this event representing the national chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers. Please let us put our hands together for the chairman of the Building Collapse and Prevention Committee of NICE and a past national chairman of NICE. Please put your hands together for Engineer Tanko Jang, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here present our guest speakers at this event. The lead speaker is Engineer Professor Samson Duna, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Director General and CEO of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute. But sorry, he has some engagement. He's dealing with some buildings not to collapse. So he has sent the director in charge of building research so that, of course, we can get the information from the man who holds the directory and all informations about that office. Please, let's make welcome Dr. Jibrin Sule. Let's put our hands together for him. We have also another speaker at this workshop, our very amiable Dean of the Faculty of Environmental Sciences of Nile University, Abuja. He is Engineer Professor Abdulhamid Danjuma Mambu, MNSC F9. A round of applause for him. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one man here. If you are a very good and participatory member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, I'm very sure you will know him. He has been very consistent, and especially when it has to do with civil engineering, when it has to do with building collapse, anything from that industry. He was a past chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abuja branch, and even past chairman of NICE Abuja chapter. He's one very respected fellow. When you talk about the Federal Housing Authority, of course, they will call names of people. His name will have to be there. And he's equally a past vice president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Please let us put our hands together for Engineer Garba Ali Yakubu, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You are very, very much welcome, sir. And we have here present in this building a past chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abuja branch. Please let us put our hands together for Engineer Dr. Ezekiel B. Kuka, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow of the Academy of Engineering. You are welcome, sir. A round of applause for him. We have also here present the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Engineer Tokpe David Boaz, FNSC. Please, a round of applause for him. You are welcome. I know he's very busy. You are welcome, sir. And we have here the National Chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Space Engineers. Please, let's put our hands together for Engineer Kayode Babalola, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are from these chapters, just wave your hands when I call you. NICE Abuja chapter, members of NICE Abuja chapter, you are welcome. Benue, does Benue have a chapter? If you come from Benue, okay. Yes, thank you, you are welcome. If you come from Kogi, I am here, flying in Kogi color, so we are welcome. Thank you. From Kwara, maybe they are online. Ekabo. From Niger, you are welcome. I don't know how to speak Nupe. I would have told you welcome. Then Nasarawa, close to Abuja. Abuja, give them support. Then from Plateau. Oh, you're very, very much welcome, sir. Fellows of NICE and NSC here present, we welcome you. All corporate members of NSC and of NICE, we welcome you. Graduate and student members here present, we welcome you. Gentlemen of the press, especially the Make Way media team. Please, let's put our hands together for Make Way. They have done everything possible to ensure we have the screens and then have a very good sound. The cameraman, where is he? Please put your hands together for him so that your pictures can be good. Clap for him very well. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Engineer Emmanuel Oshala Ejika, and I'll be your host at this event. Please, do we have people online? You can just show them, so we appreciate them as well. Thank you. But before we continue to our activities for today, we'll quickly like to play the safety tip so that you can know the surrounding that you are and equally stay safe. Safety tip, please.
Secure and covered with a comprehensive... Welcome to the Nigerian Society of Engineers. The NSC complies with all applicable statutory and regulatory requirements and is keen to satisfy all our stakeholders. Our premises are secure and covered with a comprehensive CCTV monitoring system. Your safety is our priority. Before we begin today's proceedings, please take a moment to familiarize yourself with important safety information regarding this location. Emergency exits and fire safety. In the event of an emergency requiring evacuation, do note that this auditorium has 3 exits. The main entrance exit at the front of the hall, a side exit leading outside, a rear exit connecting to the main building. The exits in the auditorium are clearly marked to guide you to safety. Take a moment to identify the nearest exit to your seat. During the emergency, please remain calm and please move in an orderly manner through the nearest exit that leads outside. Once outside, proceed to the designated assembly point located at the extreme end of the car park to the rear of the building. Please remain at the assembly point until you receive confirmation that it is safe to return. Security emergency procedures. In the unlikely event of a security emergency occurring, please remain calm as the building will go into lockdown mode. During a lockdown, do not attempt to use any lifts. Instead, proceed through the nearest exit leading from the main building, where security personnel will guide you to the muster point. Please remain there until the announcement is made that it is safe to go back in. For your convenience, restrooms are located at the rear of the platform. They are clearly marked for male and female use and can be accessed via the staircases on both sides of the platform. Medical emergency procedures. Should a health emergency arise, only trained first responders will be permitted to administer CPR or first aid. For urgent medical care, vehicles are on standby to transport individuals to the NSE's retainer hospital, where medical professionals are available to provide emergency treatment. If you need to report an emergency, please call the designated emergency contact at 080
397-54848
or 080-625-57586. All guests and visitors at the Engineering Center are reminded to keep personal items like bags, wallets, and phones always secure. Do not leave your valuables unattended to. The security operatives at the center are trained and are ready to deal with any emergencies. Your cooperation in following these safety protocols ensures the well-being of everyone present. Thank you for your attention. We wish you productive and safe deliberations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to equally invite first the chairman of the Abuja chapter, Engineer Adeleke Shola Ayanronke, MNSC, will be joining us shortly. She just have a little engagement, and then she will be here. She was here earlier, but she had to step out to meet up some emergencies. I'd like to welcome equally to this event as I call him for his welcome address, he will address us and then go back to his rightful seat where he is supposed to be. The convener, Engineer Dr. Ifeemi Francis Oseke, MNSC M-NICE, the North Central chapters. Please, let's put our hands together for him as he comes up for his welcome address. You are welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. The name is Oseke Ifeemi Francis. I know it's a southern name, south-south precisely, so you are pardoned. It means there is time for everything. Yes, I adopted Kaduna as my home. So that's northwest, but I reside in Jos. So by resident, I'm a member of the North Central Zone. All right. Thank you, everyone, and you are welcome to this all-important workshop for the North Central states. The North Central is quite unique because we are connecting both the South and the North. Let me begin by starting on the protocol. The President's Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Margaret Aina Oguntola, the National Chairman of our great institution, Engineer Tokumbo Anthony Ajanaku, FNSC F-NICE, represented here by our own national chairman, Engineer Engineer Dr. Jang Tanko. The lead speaker for today's event, Engineer Professor Samson Dunia, represented by the Director of Building Research, Engineer Dr. Jibrin Sule, F-NICE. Our speaker, the Dean of Faculty of Environmental Science, Engineer Professor Abdulamin Danjuma. The hosts, I call her the Dynamic Chair, Engineer Adeleke Shola Ronke. The ESCO of the hosts, another protocol here present, please permit me to stand on them. Today, I want to specially welcome you to this great workshop. It's with great pleasure that this workshop is holding today. I know it's quite close to the AGM, and a lot of attention has been geared toward the AGM. However, the quest to build right is a continuous one. And whenever we have the opportunity to speak about building rights, we'll grab the occasion to do it. Today marks not just the start of a workshop, but it marks the beginning of a shared journey towards building rights, not just the structure, but legacy within our North Central Zone. Whether present here, you are an architect, you are an engineer, you're an artisan, student, or an enthusiast of the built environment, your presence here signals a commitment to doing things right and the right way. That is, from foundation to finish. The theme of this workshop is not just a slogan, but it's a call to action, especially in a world where shortcuts often compromise safety and integrity. We are here to reaffirm the values of precision, ethics, and innovation. Of course, we are here to learn, to challenge the norms, and to raise the standard of building rights. Over the course of this workshop, we'll engage with the expertise and explore the new technology, especially the emerging ones, and dive into practical sessions in a bid to have a continued collaboration for building rights. You will connect with ideas and with mentors and with one another, especially knowing that within the profession, your seniors are just colleagues. Together, let this workshop be a space of curiosity, collaboration, and courage for us to ask questions and share experience, embrace the challenge of building a better society, not just for today, but for generations to come. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome you once again to this workshop. And remember, building rights is for building safety. Getting permission, getting clearance to start shouldn't be the priority, but doing the right thing when you have little or no supervision, adhering to quality when you've gotten your permission and you've gotten your clearance. With that, I want to say, welcome to this workshop, and I wish us better engagements to ensure that our buildings stand the test of time, both for today and in time to come. I hereby welcome you all, and I remain Engineer Dr. Francis Ifemi Oseke, National Ex-Official, and thank you very much for having you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Please, you can now sit in front. Please, a round of applause for Doctor. Thank you very much. So when I saw the name, especially the Ifemi, I was now confused. I took some time to pronounce it. Love came to my mind. For those of you that are Yorubas, you know what I mean. I said, is it Ifemi? But this one now has extension. How comes? Thank you very much. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite for his opening remarks the National Chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, ably represented here by our very own Engineer Jan Tanko, FNSC, FNICE. Let's put our hands together for him as we listen to his remarks. Thank you.
The President and Chairman in Council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, our dear own mother, Engineer Margaret Ayono Oguntola, FNSC, though she will be joining us shortly. The convener of this important workshop, our highly respected speakers here present, permit me to lean on the already well-established protocol. My fellow engineers, good morning all. We should not bother ourselves with the attendance as of now, but we should open our minds so as to receive the well-prepared lectures, I believe, that we might be helped on how to contribute our quota in the built environment. As being said by the moderator of the program, I'm standing in for the national chairman who would have loved to be here in person. In fact, last week, he was here in Abuja for the WCCE 20th convention. And he planned actually to be here because of this very, very, very important workshop, which is an initiative by him. When he came on board as the national chairman, he is the person behind this workshop. And I want to thank our engineers from across the country, because we have had this workshop, similar workshop in the South-South. We've had it in the Southwest. And today, I think we've had it in the Northwest. Sorry, Southeast, yes. That was in Enugu. And now we are in the North Central, meaning we're going up. I think after this one, we shall now have the Northwest and the Northeast. I want to say, any serious-minded civil engineer will know that this workshop is very apt, and it is very, very important. If you look at the theme, it's not only targeting civil engineers alone, but we want to have a collaborative approach to preventing building collapse in this country. And in the build industry, there are many stakeholders. And each stakeholder has a role to play towards having sustainable and lasting infrastructure. You know, something about our profession is when a doctor treats a patient and the patient dies, unfortunately, you will hardly hear any complaint. In fact, even the relatives will be telling the doctor, thank you for helping. But we know that the life, God has just cut it short. But when a building is said to be collapsed or to have collapsed, hey, what you'll be hearing from the public to us engineers is not good at all. Meaning that our work have to do with lives, because hardly will a building collapse without casualties. So my fellow colleagues, this initiative by our national chairman and his executive members is being organized so that we to be able to know the way and manners we should go into our business as civil engineers in terms of designs, construction, and most likely maintenance as well, so that our infrastructure will not be collapsing anyhow. So I want to implore all of us to, as a matter of fact, please ensure you participate actively in this workshop. It is going to be more of interactive. Feel free to ask questions of any type. We have the technocrats here. They will put us through. So on this note, I want to say this workshop is hereby declared No, I will not declare it open. It's the NSC president that will come and do that. We are trusting that she will join us and our committee members, and by the grace of God, she will declare the workshop open. But I want to encourage us to please do our best to participate actively. And to the organizers, please ensure that all presentations that will be made here today are well documented so that people will be able to have something to take home, either through the website or if there will be any soft copies that will be made available so that you will go back and still refresh on what will be taught here today. So I want to say, may God see us through, and we pray and hope that more members will join us much later. Probably some people may have left their states or their chapters today. I think the fathers will be Kwara, and then next will be Plateau, and of course Benue will still have to go through Nasarawa before they get here. But I also, since it is on hybrid, some may also be with us online. We should also give them the opportunity to contribute. Those on the media, we should be able to have contribution from those that will be participating via Zoom. So on this note, I wish us the best of this workshop, and I want to appreciate our speakers. When I saw Professor Mambo this morning, I said, this man, we don't know how to pay him. Last week, he was very, very central in the program of the World Council of Civil Engineers that was held last week. He was the technical committee chairman, and he was up and doing. And today he's here. I wonder how Nile is, well, they have not started lectures so much, but we want to appreciate you and pray that God will continue to renew your strength. And before I step down, the person that would have represented the national chairman, supposed to be the deputy national chairman, but I was given the opportunity to do that, and because his flight time was changed from Warri, and we have prayed here a short prayer, and God has brought him. He's just registering outside. He will join us, but after my speech would have been made on behalf of the national chairman. Thank you, and may God bless us.
Please, let's put our hands together once more for Engineer Jan Tanko. And just arriving is the Deputy National Chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, our very own Engineer Professor Sonny Ali, FNSC, F9. Please, a round of applause for him. And of course, Engineer Tanko Jang has done the politics. You know, if you are in NSC, there is one thing you should learn very well, especially when attending events, is protocol. You see, NSC has a way of running their events. That is why you would see that sometimes you come to an event, we're unable to start, you would think everybody is present, maybe just one person. Maybe you just need a word from one person, and then you'll be surprised. You will see, we'll do one kind of sitting arrangement, and you'll be seeing spaces. You will see very soon those spaces will be filled up. All these things are protocol, and it is very good we learn them because that is how we operate. You could hear from his speech, he has acknowledged the person who is supposed to be here, and like that, like that. So thank you, you are welcome. Can we please put our hands together for ourselves? Please, if you have the jotter, that is where we have our program of events. So it is 2 in 1. You have the jotter, you have the program of events, and so many other goodies attached to it. So now we are going to the technical part of this event, the main reason why we are here. But before I do that, I'd like to ask, I'll call the organization. If you are here representing them, you can just wave your hand so we see you. From the Standard Organization of Nigeria, please. If you are here or their representative, okay. We have NIBRI already. We have the academia, I'm very sure, Prof is here. From Development Control, if you are from Development Control here, NIOB, Nigerian Institution of Architects, okay, NIOB, okay, Nigerian Institution of Building. Oh, you are very welcome. Then, of course, every one of us is nice member, but we have the nicest member that will be sitting on that panel. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, for Prof, sir, don't worry about him. We are part of his lectures today, so he's in session, he's in school. Niall knows that. A round of applause for Prof. So this is what we will do now. We'll take the two speakers. We'll take the first speaker and the second speaker, 20 minutes each, and then we'll have the panel session where the speakers will be there and we'll have all other panelists join, and we'll have a robust discussion, questions and answers as regarding the topic. So ladies and gentlemen, now we will take the first speaker, and our first speaker is the Director General and CEO of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, Engineer Professor Samson Duna, FNSC F9, represented here by the Director Building Research, Dr. Jibrin Sule. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes up. Then I would invite to take the citation of Professor Samson Duna, the Technical Secretary of NICE Abuja Chapter, Engineer Victor Junaid. Let's put our hands together for Engineer Victor as he takes his citation.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. I have with me here the citation of Engineer Professor Samson Duna, FNSC, F9, Director General and Chief Executive Officer, Nigeria Building and Road Research Institute. He was born on the 13th of March, 1968. Engineer Professor Samson Duna is an erudite professor of civil engineering and the current Director General and Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria Building and Rural Research Institute. Road Research Institute, a parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. He attended the following institution and obtained the following qualification. Ekan Primary School, Ose Girin in Jos, that's first school leaving certificate. Government Science School, Toro, Bauchi State, GCE. A bag is BNG Honor in Civil Engineering from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi State. And his master's degree in Civil Engineering from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, for his PhD in Civil Engineering as well. I think we need to give him a round of applause for this. His working career goes as thus. He started as a graduate assistant at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, and rose to the position of Professor of Civil Engineering, specialization in structures. Professional qualification. He is a registered member of the Council for Regulation of Civil Engineering, Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN. Member, Nigeria Institute of Engineering Management. Fellow, Nigeria Institution of Civil Engineers. Fellow, Nigeria Association for Engineering, Geology, and the Environment. Fellow, Nigeria Society of Engineers. Council member, Standard Organization of Nigeria. Member, Industrial Sectorial Board for the Regional Transport Research and Education Center, Kumasi, Ghana. Member, Engineering, Indices and Infrastructure, Scorecard Committee of NSC. Engineer Professor Samson Duna has to his credit over 50 research publications in learned local and international journals. Engineer Professor Duna has supervised over 140 undergraduates and postgraduate students including master and doctorate engineering students. Engineer Professor Duna is the current Director General and Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria Building and Road Research Institute, NIBRI. Organization has successfully investigated over 50 collapsed building and engineering infrastructure nationwide. Distinguished guests and participants, we are proud to present to you the keynote speaker for today's event, Engineer Professor Samson Duna. Thank you. Okay. So, come. Okay, good. Good morning now, yes, yeah, good morning. Let me just. Okay, good afternoon now. I think so. It's afternoon, right? Yeah, it's afternoon now. Good. It's okay. Yeah, good afternoon. My DG wanted to have been here personally, but the minister has to send for him, and he felt that I just have to come and represent him. He doesn't want a situation because he has been participating a lot in terms of NICE, and he felt that leaving a vacuum may not help, so he said, I just have to come and represent him here. I must say that he wanted to be here. Maybe before I finish the discussions, maybe he may be here, I'm not so sure. But he told me that I should have to come and stand in for him so that immediately he comes, maybe he can continue from there. But at the moment, I'll present what actually he said I should present for the NICE. He actually wanted to be here, really. So based on that, please, I want the moderator to permit me to stand on existing protocols so that I can just go ahead because it's just 20 minutes. So based on the presentations I have now, I have the introductions, which briefly I'll go over it. And NIBRI as a standard, we have a compilations of building collapse from 2020. I have more than that, but because of these presentations, I just have for 2020 and 2025, I have the causes of the building collapse, the effect of the building collapse, the investigation that NIBRI has done on its own, the challenges we faced during the investigations, then our laboratory, which is the key, and that is our strength, because no matter what you do, you must have where to test these materials that you are carrying from the site. Are they good or not? Then on that basis, we try as much as possible to try to find the mitigations. How do we do to get these things done? Every day we are hearing about the building collapse. What is the way forward? And every week, in fact, every second, you hear, okay, this is the way out, but nothing has been done. Yet, we keep talking about that. NIBRI has tried as much as possible to try to do, have a mitigations. How do you do it? So that you can get results at the end of the day to avoid such. I have our conclusions and recommendations of which we did at the end of the day. You all agree with me that buildings accommodates all the human beings. Next to food is a building, wherever you stay. If you like, have every other things, you must stay somewhere. And what is that? Is a shelter, and which is what? Building. And the importance of buildings cannot be overemphasized, because it also attracts a kind of a tourist in a certain area. With all due respect for maybe the nomadic areas, if you go to nomadic sites, the kind of structure they have tells you the kind of people they are. If you go to my own village, which is a mold house, if you go there, you see the kind of building that I have. But in this case, we're not talking of those buildings for collapse, because we all know that all will have the mood of building our structures. So the buildings tells you the kind of the culture you come from. So it guides us on that. Again, we find out that this is something. Well, it's not moving through. Well, as I said, in Nigerian setup, everybody has challenges. And these challenges, we need to, these things have to be moving and okay, point. Is the point going nowhere? So that you're following what I'm saying, really. Where am I pointing? Pointing this or this? Pointing which one? Yeah, I want to. Okay, so like I said, Nigeria as a developing country, we all know.
Or face them to
Okay,
press
am I
it.
pointing there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
fine.
you can stay close to you.
Okay, fine.
You can stay close to you.
Okay. I think it should be. Okay, well, as a typical, as a developing country, we all have our challenges, which arises in terms of adequate infrastructure such as buildings, roads, electricity, and others, so just to mention but few. We all know that these buildings are being constructed with different materials. Materials can be either natural or maybe factory-made, which you all know both of them can combine together to give you what we are looking for. There's various materials we use in putting our buildings together. And some of the materials are what? We have the steel, we have the cement, we have the aggregate, we have the glasses. All these ones forms what we have, what we call what? The materials for our buildings. But the issue comes, if we do not actually put them in that proper proportions, what we see at the end of the day will be what we call a failure. Because once you're able to put these materials together, yes, agreed. You have the material, you have the money, but are these things put in the proper directions? If they are not put in the proper directions, on the proper lines on how they are, then you have failures at the end of the day. So these materials, if they are not put in together, we'll have what we call building collapse. And the question now comes, what is building collapse? A lot of literatures have done, a lot of people the researchers have done their own way. Some said a building collapse could be once a building complete collapse, there's no any other way out. They call it, the term says what? As a collapse. While some felt that a partial collapse is also a collapse. But whichever way you call it, collapse is collapse. Because as long as it cannot function what you want, then you should expect that at the end of the day, you may not get a result. Because once if certain factors failed, then what the structure is meant for may not be able to satisfy what you want. So on that basis, it gives a source of concern, and that is why we're here today. Every day we're trying to find a way out of these situations, and it gives us a source of concern, the engineers, the architect, the builders, and all people in the stakeholders in the built environment. It gives us a source of concern. So we look at it, what will be the way out? And basically, when we're talking of building collapse, like I said initially, we're not talking of the bungalows. The high-rising buildings is what is of interest. And these high-rising buildings, it builds in such a way that we have structural members. And what are these structural members? We have the columns, we have our the slabs, we have our beams, which these things, they are a specific way of designing them. And if you do not design them appropriately, at the end of the day, you may have a failure. And that is what we're trying to run away from. So, in terms of building collapse, we may have what? A natural cause or a man-made. In most of the natural cause, which, well, in Nigeria, we don't actually much have such experience, but most of the buildings that are natural cause will have the earthquake, which mostly we don't actually experience that in Nigeria. the hurricane, the flood. Well, flood is one of those ones which actually affect, like last year, what actually happens in Maiduguri could affect all our buildings. All those ones, we call them a natural made, which, of course, there's no way we can run away from that. But the man-made, which is common, and that has been the major factors that actually be affecting us and give us a source of control. If we can control it at the moment, I think it will reduce the amount of the failures. And most of them comes in terms of what? The building design, the failure in the designing. We also have the material failures, because the materials are not being properly bound together. You, at the end of the day, have a failures at the end of the day. Geotechnical investigation is much, much important. When I get there, I'll also tell you that some of the experience, in fact, about last week when I saw what is actually happening. And once that thing happens, and if this is not corrected at the initial stage, of course, at the end of the day, give it time, it will collapse. So it's most of the things that the collapsing we're seeing in most cases falls in terms of man-made. If we can put our things together, I'm very sure that at the end of the day, our structures may stand the test of time. Nothing lasts forever, but at least we should be able to know that, yes, this thing has gone to a certain level. In Ibri, what we actually do is that we try as much as possible, if there's any collapse, we record them. And a number of investigations we have done, we have a desk officers that will compile them year by year. Those that we know, we will see them and we record them. And some of them are here because of time. I'll just go through the compilations. And the investigations that we did personally, which you have it in the slides, but I won't waste my time on the compilations, which you see them one after the other. This one is for 2020. The 2020 we have. This is for 2021. Also going for 2022, the compilations, in fact, we make them in terms of building locations, the nature of the building, the type of the building, the date it occurred, the preliminary result that we obtain, and the casualties. So all these ones are records we made in our institutions. So we only record these things as they happen. And any time we get to the site, we have a kind of a preliminary investigation. What actually causes this? And all of them are in that in the report and in the presentations. But there are some pictures that we actually did that. We carry out the investigation from A to Z, and I'll show you maybe in the next slides as we proceed. These are some of the collapses that happens. This one happens in Jos in 2024. It happens in just not local government. We also have this one that happens in Makurdi as well. This one happens in October 2023. All these ones are pictures just to show you actually what the areas all of us in Ibri have tried to go and try to see how we can bring out a result. And each one that will go will come up with a technical report, which I'll also tell you in the next slides as we proceed. These are the pictures of some of the images that we went to site and see. The other one was our former DG, Professor Matawal, which is all known about the civil engineering. And the other slide by my right is our Director General, Samson Duna, which in fact, the building that collapsed in Jos kills about 22 students last year or thereabout. Now, what are these causes of this building collapse? We all know, we've done that, and I will also tell you, but for the benefit of this, I'll just give you the basis of how actually what we've end up to say, okay, these are these are the causes of the building collapse. We have the substandard materials, we have the faulty designs, we have a lack of observation, which is also key. Lack of geotechnical investigation is also a key in a kind of causes of the building collapse. If all these things are not being taken care of, at the end of the day, we have a failure. And in Ibri, what we try to do is to get them one after the other to see what are actually the effect of it. Now, the effect of these buildings, we know that the effect of the building collapse could result to what? Fatality, which is we loss of life, loss of properties which cannot be gained, your investment gone, loss of time because all the times you've used, maybe you lost them because of that, and also the technological advancement of the country. They look at us. Are these people really serious? You build structures today, tomorrow fails. Are these people really know what they are doing? Did they really follow the standard? So that kind of things also affect us in detail. So we try as much as possible to ensure that we avoid all this, the collapse. So what we actually did in Ibri, we'll try as much as possible to have a procedure. Anytime there's a building collapse, we'll get to the procedure, we'll go to the site. What do? We'll prepare ourselves, we'll go to the site, source the materials, take the material to the lab, test these materials. Did they actually meet up the standard? Yes or no? Our lab is there that will give us an idea that yes, exactly, this material, this is actually what causes the building collapse, in particular A, B, C. But all the investigations we make at the end of the day end up in what we call the technical report. And this technical report, we have them in series, 1, 2, 3. As I speak now, we have more than 70 technical reports when it comes to building collapse, because all of these ones will go there, and at the end of the day, we try as much as possible to ensure that at least we'll give you a report, and it will be a reference point. My DG was saying when I was coming, but because I was rushing to come, I couldn't carry some of the technical report. But he instructed me that to come up with some of the technical reports so that I can present tonight. But that notwithstanding, even if I get back, I'll still bring them back to the night so that if we can get it, maybe put it in your library to ensure that at least we utilize them. Once you're able to know these things, that, okay, this is what causes this building collapse, we'll try to find a remedy to that. So these are the procedure we do as far as NIBRI is concerned. But you see, funny thing, we have a number of challenges when we are trying to investigate the site. In most cases, you find that access to design calculations, for able to know, because, this building collapsed. Are you sure what actually causes this? Let us see the design. You will find difficulties in getting the design. So it's not giving us, it's not funny at all. If you wanted to compare this building has been built 3 years ago, then how do you say that, the failure occurred because of the design? You need to see what we have before, then and analyze it and see whether the thing meets the standard. But in most cases, you may not have access to design calculations, and which give us a lot of challenge. Sometimes, get to the site, the robots there, you cannot have access to them. You get there, where the structure failed, you may not, get access to the site to even get there. Again, you find out that in most cases, again, I just want to be, okay? Nobody takes responsibilities when it comes to a building collapse, because we will just report, and nobody takes the responsibility of actually what actually happens at the end of the day. So access to the working drawing is also a problem at the end of the day. Site supervisions is an issue. In most cases, again, maybe in terms of building collapse, when maybe under constructions, it is expected that at least if you are working, you should have, you as an engineer, you get there, have a book that you record to tell them this is what to do. But by the time a building collapse, you may find it very difficult to even get a book that the engineer has been recording. If something happens, nobody know, you'll be looking helter-skelter to know who actually is at fault. The technical man will say, no, they didn't tell me to do this. But the engineer will say, this is what I said. The only thing to prove that is what? Your book. You give an instructions, this is what I want you to do. So if there's any failure, you should be able to identify that, yes, this is actually what I said it should be done. So in this case, these are some of the investigations we in NIBRI try as much as possible to go in details. The previous ones were just a compilations where it happens, the location where it is. But these ones are the ones that we actually go to the site to take the investigations, and we'll categorize it in terms of the material, in terms of the design, in terms of the workmanship, in terms of the compliance to the building code. So we looked at them in that order. We've done a lot of them, and in this presentation, I'll just give a little bit of it. Not all of them I present them here, but we'll go from location to locations. Lagos, Abuja, in fact, all parts of the country, we'll all go there. We do not concentrate ourselves in any particular locations. We'll all go through. But like I said initially, in terms of material, in terms of our design, the workmanship, the technical failure, the compliance, these are some of the basics we'll do. And at the end of the day, we'll try as much as possible to ensure that we have the result, what actually causes this building collapse. And in our analysis, and I want everybody to check it around, maybe from now onward, you find out that most of this building collapse occur during the rainy season. Okay? In the dry season, because the soil bearing capacity is okay, you won't see anything. But in the rainy season, the bearing capacity is very low because of the saturations of the soil.
So, and that is why it is expected before the buildings should put into constructions, you must try to test the soil, because you are leading these buildings into it's just like a foam. You are putting it in a particular area. You didn't expect it, because in fact, any movement will move the other one. And that's why you have all those connections that has to be together. If there's a little movement in this area, you drag up the other ones. So for, what do you expect at the end of the day? A failure. So we should try as much as possible to show that I will have a good geotechnical investigations before putting our structures on it. But in our analysis, what we found out is that we found out that about 35.38% of the failures comes in terms of what? Our substandard materials. So, and this has been confirmed, because if you come to our lab, you find out that most of the material that we're thinking is this, by the time you test it, it falls below the standard. We also find out that the technical investigations form about 21% of the failures that occur, because in most cases, people do not carry out the soil investigations. I want to give a typical example just of about last week around the Nasarawa site. One man has the money. I go there, in fact, they call me. So when I got there, he has started putting the foundations. He wants about 4-story building. He has the money. He has the resources. So the first question I asked, I don't want to care about the design, but why is the soil test? I said, see this place now, there's no need of taking any soil test. I said, but this since you are putting it on top of something. So the typical analysis I showed him was issue of your foam, your vital foams, not the big one now, the one that is the orthopedic, not that one. Look at just your foam. If you put it there, all this money you have, you can put everything, have a good design, have a good supervision, good everything. But if that soil investigation is not carried out, because the thing is going to land on it, if it's not there, then you have a problem at the end of the day. But I want to assure you that as I speak, the man has not come back. But I said, well, to the best of my knowledge, I've told you what to do. If anything fell there, I'll personally take you to authorities that have advised you. But they are only looking at maybe the 10% of the money for them to just go and take the soil. I said, come to our lab, not necessarily our lab. You have lab every other places. But go and test and know what this structure is lying on it. If it's lying on in a good foundations, at the end of the day, you don't have a failure. Because no matter what you design, if it's not properly still in the proper directions, you will have a failure at the end of the day. So we also find out that faulty design amount to about 13%. We also realize that another factors which also affect that is the aging materials. We find out that maybe in the south areas where they have long time standing buildings, their ages too also have, because some of the building collapses, you say, the thing has been old. So aging also have a factor, a building collapse. So I want us to be aware that not all building collapse is the fault of the civil engineer or the structural engineer, because some of the buildings have withstand the test of time, and there's no way they have to give way for others people to do their job. So in some cases, it's the aging of the building that actually causes the building collapse, not the fault of the technical or the civil engineer that is there. Yeah, poor workmanship is also a factor which we actually identified. No matter what, we try as much as possible to show that you do proper work. If you don't do proper work, at the end of the day, you may not achieve the result. Cut corner everywhere, we're all thinking of the money, but the money may not actually give us the result, help us at the end of the day. So we should try as much as possible to ensure that at least we have a lot of things. So having said this, we have our laboratory. Some of the things we have in the laboratory is what I'm just going to present here. A few of them, this is for consolidations. We have them in our laboratory. For your test, come to the test, take any soil, bring it to the lab first. Decide, look at it, we'll be able to tell you, advise you. Yes, very sure, I'm running an operation. So the soil materials, you have to take them so that you'll be able to see what actually, before you put everything on ground, be sure that what you're putting on ground is in the right direction. Otherwise, at the end of the day, you may not get the result. You may have the money, but the money may just be wasted if actually you do not do the proper direction, the proper things to be done. Okay, this part of our steel, you'll be surprised that most of the steel materials we find, the steel, in our research, you find out that where you are thinking of Y12, if you bring it to the lab, it's no longer Y12. If it's Y16, bring it to the lab, it may not be that. So we have a lot of challenges, and we advise everybody to try as much as possible, bring your steel. If you go to the market, if they say this one is Y12, bring it to the test, bring it to the lab, test it, and be sure that what we are talking about is correct. Otherwise, you may not have achieved the result of what we expected of you. Okay, we have our what? This one tells you your materials, your SFRs, we have them which gives you the properties of the materials. We have them in our lab. If you come, just few of the labs, our lab that we have, all these ones I'm showing you, we have them in our lab. Just come to the lab, they will tell you, guide you, how you are going to use these materials. We have enough of them, but I just only try to bring few of them to ensure that at least we're able to present something here. I'm going to where it's expected of us to, okay? Yeah, this is where I'm much interested in. That before any structures, you have your money, you have everything. But first, before you put your structure together, try as much as possible to conduct the geotechnical investigation. It's important because these structures is lying on the soil. So we need to know. Based on your geotechnical investigations, will tell you the type of foundations you are going to put. Otherwise, where it's supposed to be part foundations, you may be going there. In fact, if you do that, you can even save your money because all you are thinking that, oh, maybe it's a part foundations, may not likely be part foundations. So it may be other foundations that may save your money from. So you try as much as possible to ensure that at least you have your investigation, your technical investigation to get what's supposed to be there. After that, you go for your design. Make sure that you have a proper design and keep the record of all the designs you make because if there's any failure, they'll come back to that. So you try as much as possible to ensure that at least you have your designing. The quality control should be of more important. Any material you're going to use there, ensure that these materials are good. Otherwise, you can do it, at the end of the day, you have a failure. Okay? Engage professionals. Some of these people, they have the money, but for them to just pay professionals, to pay them so just little amount of the money, maybe say 0.00% of the money that they have to pay the professionals, they are looking at it as if it's a waste. After all, I've been doing this for a quite number of time, so there's no need of paying anybody. So it's good for us to pay the professionals. We also have the supervisions. The supervision is also important. We try as much as possible because no matter what, you've gathered everything and you're not supervising, then at the end of the day, you may have a problems because cut corner is there, they may not do the right thing, and before you know it, everything has gone. So do the proper things. Once you do the proper things, you'll be able to get the results at the end of the day. Major issue now is, in most cases, you find out that if there's a collapse, no enforcement, nobody takes responsibility. Government will just say, well, I've done that, but who is to be blamed? Nobody to enforce that. So we'll try as much as to ensure that everybody, at least, if there's enforcement of what is actually happening. And I'm very sure all the record we have in Nibri, if there should be a kind of enforcement to say, yes, this thing is good, this one is responsible, and there's punishment for that, I'm very sure a lot of people would have tried to sit up and do their things. But the Nibri, as it is, doesn't actually have the power to punish anybody. We only just find out this is the result, and at the end of the day, we keep them to appropriate authority as far as we are concerned, as the research institute is concerned. So we don't actually have the power to do that. So, in conclusion, building right is the responsibility of all of us. We should try as much as possible to ensure that at least we'll do the needful at the end of the day. The substandard material that we keep using should be stopped. We should try as much as possible to ensure that at least at the end of the day, we do not actually use our substandard materials. Faulty design should be discouraged at all times. Your geotechnical invitations must be properly taken care of if we wanted to use and we wanted to avoid our building collapse. Laboratory, which we encourage, if possible, try as much as possible to establish a laboratory in all the locations. We are saying Nibri seems to have one of the best laboratories we have in the country. Come there and check for yourself we're not bragging for anything, but just come there and check in terms of road, in terms of buildings. Come there and check. You find out that our labs is equipped so that at least we try to avoid all the building collapse. Recommendations were advocated that the structural integrity should be taken. All the buildings that are more than 15 years, we should have social integrity of those buildings to ensure that at least they are safe. If they are not safe at that particular time, then we should do what we call the retrofitting to ensure that we keep them to date. Otherwise, you will have an unexpected failure. So we try as much as to ensure that every construction material will use the proper code of our designing. Whatever we're doing, if we don't do the right thing, you shall expect failures at the end of the day. Professional body will must wake up. We must wake up and ensure that at least the right thing is being done in all locations. And that's exactly why we're here today. We should try as much as possible to ensure that at least we'll do the needful at all times. Thank you very much.
Please, let's put our hands together once more for Dr. Jibrin Sule. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doctor. And Nibri have said it. Building collapse is our responsibility, so we must build right. And once again, Nibri is opening her doors for every one of us to come in. Please go to Nibri, check this equipment, ask questions, and then, of course, you shall know the right answers to solving some of these problems. Thank you very much, sir. So we'll quickly take the second speaker, and then we'll continue to the panel discussion. Please, let's put our hands together as we invite to come up stage Engineer Professor Abdelhamid Danjuma Mambo, MNSC F-NICE, the Dean Faculty of Environmental Sciences, NICE University. You can stand here as we quickly take your citation. As I invite Engineer Cyril Chibuzo Oke, MNSC, to quickly take this citation of Professor Mambo. Thank you.
Greetings, distinguished fellows and members here present. Brief biography of Professor Abdelhamid Danjuma Mambo. Professor Abdelhamid Danjuma Mambo is the head of civil engineering and Dean of Environmental Science at Nile University of Nigeria, Abuja, a graduate of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, B.Eng 2006. He earned his MSc distinction and PhD from Loughborough University, UK, 2009-2013, specializing in energy-efficient systems and sustainable infrastructure. A dynamic academic and researcher, he has lectured at FUTMINA and Federal University, Birnin Kebbi, while driving transformative projects globally. His postdoctoral work at Loughborough included the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Reinvent the Toilet Initiative, and Mitsubishi Electric's European Heating Research for UK domestic buildings. As Abuja Urban Lab Project led, he addressed waste management challenges with EU German Development Agency funding. He also co-authored Nigeria's Energy Efficiency Building Code Report with UN Habitats and oversees French Embassy-funded projects, including a microplastics recycling plant and installation of fabrication laboratory at Nile University. Professor Mambo's research spans energy efficiency, smart control systems, renewable energy integration, and sustainable infrastructure with 50 plus publications and 2 books. He is a highly sought after speaker, having delivered numerous keynote addresses and guest lectures to important institutions. His academic service includes acting as an external examiner for PhD and master's thesis at Karunya Institute of Technology and Science and B.S. Abdurrahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology in India, as well as the University of Abuja and the Federal University of Technology, Mina. He has also served as an external assessor for professorial and associate professorial promotions. He has also served as external assessor for promotion to professorship and associate professorship, a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers and European Alliance for Innovation. He is a current registered civil engineer and member of global bodies like the World Society of Sustainable Energy Technologies, renowned for merging innovation with real-world impacts. His work inspires progress in sustainable engineering across Africa and beyond. Thank you. You're
welcome. Before Prof will take the stage for 20 minutes, please, I know some of us like to catch some of these pictures. The lecture notes will be sent to your emails. So just ensure you have properly written your emails legibly. Thank you very much.
Please, can I have the slides up? Okay. The national chairman, Engineer Aina Oguntala, FNSC, the representative of the national chairman of Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineering, Engineer Tokumbo Ajanaku, ably represented by the former national chairman, Engineer Dr. Tonku Jang, Engineer Professor Samson Duna, our elder in the profession, and who has eloquently presented the lead paper for today's event, ably represented by Dr. Jibrin Sule. Well, there are a lot of very important people in this hall, including the chairman of the chairman of the Buhari branch is here. The engineer Garba Ali is also here. Engineer Dr. Ezekiel Kuka is also here. And engineer Professor Taye Elijah is also here. And representative from the various state chapters in the North Central that are here, as well as the members of other professional bodies in the built environment that are represented here. Permit me to stand on the already well-established protocol. So our presentation today will go through introduction and try to look at what is the cost of building collapse, and then why do building fail in Nigeria, as well as the building right, building safe strategy, the blueprint, and the importance of collaborative approach, and a call to action. If what I'm presenting here sounds like I'm repeating what Professor Duna have said, it shouldn't come as a surprise. I think the organizers of this program deliberately put me after Professor Duna because they know he's one of the big masquerades in the engineering profession, an authority that can speak on this topic better than any of us. And when you are asked to speak after an expert has spoken, you know, you have given a very difficult task. So I'll try my best. So if I'm repeating what has been said before, don't bother. I think it's the essence of having a second paper is to reinforce, you know, what has been delivered before. But as I said, the first paper was indeed very detailed and is an excellent presentation. Thank you very much, Engineer Jibrin Sule, for that fantastic representation. So I will just move ahead. I've already mentioned all these people, some of them. So these, news of building collapse that we're hearing from time to time in this country is actually a national embarrassment to those of us who are in the profession that should safeguard our nation from these collapses. This is because these come at a cost to us as a nation. And what are those costs? The first, of course, is the human lives that are extinguished. Again, this has already been mentioned by the previous speaker, including the opening remark by Engineer Dr. Tonko Jang. You know, anytime a building collapses, you hear of death, you hear of life-threatening injuries, and that is not good. You know, he has also given a very fantastic example. A doctor can kill a patient one at a time, but as engineering failures, you know, we kill many at once. We have seen what happened in the flood in Maiduguri, the failure of a dam, and how almost about half of the city was submerged, and over 1 million people were displaced just because of one single engineering failure. We saw what happened in the devastating flood that hit Mokwa recently, where over 500 people, you know, died, or some of them have been physically identified while others cannot be found. So there's a huge human cost whenever there's an engineering failure. And that is why those of us who, you know, are in the driver's seat of this profession has to be extremely careful. Those calculations we're doing, you know, they are not just another mathematical expression or whatever. They are about life. They are about the safety of our infrastructure. And that is why we should not take our tax lightly. It's not only the human cost, there's also the economic cost. You know, there's direct cost of losing the building itself. Sometimes this is investment people made over time, their life investment gone. Not only that, some of those buildings, you know, they may be institutional buildings that carry with them other economic weights, you know, and the moment they are destroyed, you know, it means that those investments are gone. Not only that, it could lead to increase in insurance premiums, as well as destruction of the economic activity represented by those buildings or those infrastructure. The other one is the social cost of building collapse. You know, the fear it instills in people. Of course, if you go to any building and you see some cracks, you know, you have to look at it like 2-3 times. There was a time in one of my offices in Nile University, there was this massive crack in the, although as a professional, I know that it's actually not a deep structural failure. But many people who visit me are afraid that, Prof, you need to do something about this thing before. So because of that fear it instilled in people, you know, we have to design it right and build it right. So again, when people begin to see that these buildings are collapsing and there are engineers around, what happens is that they lose faith in us as professionals. Oh, you see, even with our engineers around, still these things are happening. So what does it mean? It means that I should just go ahead and use my experience, you know, and build. Again, that is not a solution, but there are people who think that way. So that is why the theme of today's event is really, really catchy. It's very good. You know, building right. What does building right mean? It speaks to the process, you know, adherence to design code, using certified material, and then meticulous execution of the building project. And when I say building here, I'm not just referring to, you know, just buildings, but also every other civil engineering infrastructure is put under my consideration. Then when we say building safe, it speaks to the outcome to assure structural integrity and longevity. All this can be achieved if our buildings are designed right and they are built right. So, sorry, I am supposed to go. Okay, so why do building fails? Again, this will be a reinforcement of some of the things that have been mentioned already. One, there's issue of technical deficiency, use of substandard materials. Nibri has presented fantastically, you know, some of those material and how inadequate soil investigation. Again, it has been stressed before, faulty design and poor workmanship. All these have been mentioned before. These are technical, you know, issues that could lead to building failures. But in addition to technical failure, there are regulatory failures, you know, weak enforcement, corruption culture, and lack of professional accountability. Not quite long ago, we celebrated Korean through, I think, an executive order of the president that we now have, we cannot prosecute, you know, engineers that default. But since after that, we have not heard of anything, and buildings have continued to collapse. So it shows that something needs to be done. I mean, action this time around, not just slogan, like the MC put it. He said, this is not about, no, not the MC, the convener. He said, this is not about another slogan, you know, build right, build safe. It's not, we're not here to sing song. We're not here to just talk. It's not a talk show. You know, it's a summon, it's a call to action. You know, so yes, we celebrated it, and I don't know, the elder in the profession here, perhaps maybe when they have opportunity later, they will enlighten us more about how has Korean, you know, gone ahead with that executive order who granted them prosecutorial right. Have they been able to get people, you know, held accountable, you know, for some of these errors? And then, of course, there's also the economic pressure, mostly coming from the client impatience, as well as cost-cutting mentality, you know, and the use of unqualified professionals. All this happens. You go to site in Abuja here. Most of those estates coming up, you don't see, you know, real registered engineers there. The one estate I went to and I asked, Oga, you say you are the engineer here. What is your qualification? He said he's a computer scientist. And you are the one building this. I said, I bought a plot there, and they were saying they are going to build it for me. I said, no way. With computer scientists, he's the one that is going to build my building. It's not possible. I have to flaunt my credentials there. I said, look, I'm going to do it myself. They said, no, we don't do it that way. I said, well, if you don't do it that way, you're cutting trouble for yourself. Because if anything happens, we'll hold you responsible. And then they have to allow me to go ahead and build my house myself. You know, that way I can sleep with my eye closed. I know that I know what I put in there. Okay? So if you go around the site in Abuja here, you see those anomalies, you know, where people that are not qualified or registered, in fact, again, even the professionals, when they give them job, they leave the work to the masons. You know, they are somewhere enjoying themselves, while it was the bricklayers and the masons that are just there doing their things, you know, which is also, I mean, it's bad. Then, again, I've mentioned this. When we talk about substandard material, what are we talking about? Adulterated cements, you know, undersized reinforcement steel. I think it has been mentioned. The rebar, when you go and test them in the laboratory, you find out that the thickness is not what has been declared. And poor aggregates are rampant. People just go and pack these, gravels from the gutter. You know, after rain has fallen, they collect it and then start putting it in their building. And you are not surprised if some of those buildings go down as a result of that. So every batch of critical material must be certified, must be tested, and it must be tracked, especially for very important infrastructure projects.
Then inadequate soil investigation, again, it has been mentioned before, developers keep comprehensive site investigation, gambling with inadequate footings, differential settlement due to unknown subsurface condition is a criminal recklessness. Again, Engineer Jibrin Sule here has mentioned his experience on site, how people are trying to cut corners all the time. Then faulty design and poor workmanship. One, we have issue of design by quacks, with critical errors, inadequate beam sizes, incorrect concrete cover, under design shear capacity, and improper construction practices. All this we see. Sometimes, as a structural engineer, somebody will just go and do his rubbish and bring it to you and say you should apply your seal. And people are doing that for small price, and most of the time they don't even have time to go through the design. All they are just looking at is just that small change that is going to come to them, and this is something we should be, talk to ourselves. It's wrong. Then in terms of the regulatory and institutional failures, there's weak enforcement. Again, I've said it. Nigerian possesses building code that is very old, very old. It is stuck somewhere in the National Assembly, the reviewed one, since over a decade ago. I think they did so review about 10 years ago, which I went to a few workshops around it. But since after that, I think it's stuck somewhere, for 10 years. I'm sure if it's the same document, that document now is ready for another review. So I hope they don't go ahead and pass it into law. They should bring it and get it for another review. So, and even the old building code, nobody is using it, actually. There's no enforcement at all. So, again, building permits are issued without proper structural vetting. Probably it's only in Abuja that, to some extent, the development control is trying to do its job. But if you go outside Abuja, it's quiet. People are just building the way they like. These things need to be. Then professional accountability gap, current disciplinary mechanisms, again, I've mentioned it, are slow and they lack teeth. Sorry for the head of current or representative that are here. We have to speak to the truth to each other. The Hausa people have a proverb that, Rana wanka ba apo echibi. If you want to take your bath, you don't hide your navel. You don't have it. You have to expose it so that you clean it very well. So if I say some very uncomfortable truths here, it's because this is a forum for us to say it so that we'll take lesson. Again, I'm not ruling out the possibility that perhaps I'm not very current on some of the efforts, that have been going on. So again, it's the opportunity to educate us about what has been done in this area. I'm sure will be granted to you. So the culture of impunity allows illegal construction to proceed. This endemic corruption is a single greatest non-technical threat to building safety in Nigeria. So societal and economic pressure, again, I've mentioned it. Client impatient, the project owner, the pressure engineers to speed on. Somebody want to go to his house, but he will not rush it until when maybe his tenancy in where he's living is getting close. And he says, "Oga, by November I have to enter that house." And then he put all kind of pressure on the engineers on site. Again, clients sometime after you started building, they'll come and say, knock this thing off, knock this down, or change in the design while the construction is going on. This thing happens. And then use of quacks, again, I have already mentioned that. So how do we correct all these things that I have highlighted? One is to build right, we must adhere to stringent, non-negotiable technical standard elevated by ethical imperatives. Foundation excellence started from solid ground with comprehensive site investigation. Again, the previous speakers have already honed in on this. Then design integrity, professional certification, and mandatory peer review. Even if you think what you have done on paper is good enough, there's no harm for you to also ask for second opinion about your designs, especially in critical areas that you are doubting about. There's nothing wrong with that. Then ensuring integrity through a rigorous testing protocol of material quality, as well as quality control, active supervision, and professional accountability. Again, all these things have already been emphasized. Then foundation and geotechnical excellence, mandatory site investigation for high-rise building for critical infrastructure should be enforced, and then designing for resilience. We should not just design our roads to please the politician. We should let them know that it's very important that that road should last beyond their 2-3 years tenure. And that is why whatever sacrifice we have to do now to get it right, we should do it. Sometimes people just, some of the politicians wait until maybe it's a year to the end of, to seek re-election, and then they start doing all these projects all over, and they want to commission it before election so that they will brag about it. Some of them, 2-3 months after the election has been concluded, they have failed. So this, again, it is with active connivance, of the professionals, unfortunately. And then we have to speak to ourselves. There are times you have to stamp your feet and say, Oga, we have to do this for the benefit of our people. And therefore, where you are taking us here is not good for the health of our nation. We should do something differently. So designing for resilience is very, very important. The material quality, supply chain integrity. I'm happy to hear that Standard Organization of Nigeria is here, and that Professor Samson Duna is also a council member. They have a key role to play in ensuring that our building material that are supplied to site meet up with the quality requirement. And then mandatory testing protocol, all the slump tests, the cube compression, at 7 and 28 days, the reinforcement testing and what have you, we need to, we cannot say it enough that we need to do it. These testing records are the project proofs, of quality and must be rigorously maintained and verified. Yeah, I know I have a few minutes left. Don't worry, I'm about to round up. So then design integrity and peer review, and yes, construction, supervision and quality control. I've already mentioned that. Ahead, this is the part I want to, is the collaborative approach. It's not only it's not only the engineers that are in the building industry. We have the architect, we have, I'm happy NIA is represented here. I'm also happy that the NIOB they are also here. I don't know NIQS, whether they are here, but we need to collaborate more. I'm happy that the building information modeling software now allow professionals, to collaborate at the design stage. So we should leverage on these technologies so that we can sit at the table while these infrastructures are being designed. It's not that in the way we operate now is in a silos manner where the architect will finish his design and then pass it to a structural engineer, and the structural engineer don't even know who the architect is. He will also work on his own and then pass it to the M&E. We operate in these silos. But with building information modeling, it allows us to input our design information, in a software environment that all the professionals, even including the client, can have access to. And then with the improvement in visualization capability now, the room for us to make some of these errors, has been greatly reduced. So the partnership will also be government partnership in terms of regulatory reform and digital transparency. There's, I think Korean is doing well. You can now search for engineers. You can also search whether their area of specialization. This is good. If you want to check on a particular engineer to see whether he's qualified, to do your project, you can go to the engineer search and check. This is good. Other professionals should also emulate this Korean. Then, of course, we should continue to have academia and industry partnership. Like you can see a lot of research going in Newbury, as well as in the university. We have a lot of research, on our shelf. Then collaboration, I've said it before. Then government partnership, yes. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, no problem. It's okay. 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 I think I'll have about 3 slides more to go soon. Okay. 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 Okay Okay. Yeah, please. Okay.
Apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we be upstanding as we welcome the arrival of the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Margaret Aino Oguntala, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's put our hands together for her. And for our distinguished guest here, she is the 34th President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and the first female President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Please, let's put our hands together for her. You're welcome. I think we are very blessed at this event. If you don't know, you have the Executive Committee of the Nigerian Society of Engineers at this event. Seated close to the President is the immediate past President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the 33rd President of NSE, Engineer Tasiu Sahad Gidari Wudil, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, FNSE MNI. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome. And right in this hall tomorrow, he will be taking the October lectures at 10 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here present at this event Vice President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We have Vice President Professional Development, Engineer Dr. Aluya Dauda Okoduga, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's make him welcome. We have also Vice President Asset Management, Engineer Rachel Uge, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. You're welcome. We have also here present the National ESCO Membership Services, Engineer Dr. Ndifom Agbiji. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome. We have also National ESCO Member Corporate Services, Engineer Dauda Musa, FNSC. You are welcome. We have also National ESCO Member Engineering Technology and Innovations Management, Engineer Professor Olumide Moses Ogundikbe. You are welcome. And we have also Engineer Usman A. Abubakar, National ESCO Member Asset Management. You're welcome. And of course, we have also in our midst the National ESCO Member Professional Development, Engineer Abraham Agadike, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam President has a very busy schedule today, and she has taken out time to quickly come with her ESCOs to attend this event. Can we please put our hands together for her as we stand up to welcome her to the stage to give us that presidential address. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much. You're welcome, ma'am.
Please be seated. Today is our EXCO meeting day. And the EXCO meeting started at 11. But when I saw the invite, and I saw that it was about a workshop, which is one of the cardinals of and objectives of the NSC, professional development, I did not think twice before I just said, yes, schedule for me. So my intention was to come here at 10, as you have stated in your invite, spend about 1 hour with you, and then start the EXCO. But then, since you didn't start early, you have gained more. Because now I did not come alone. I've come with the entire EXCO. I'd like to recognize the presence of the immediate past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and like somebody likes or loves to introduce him, the first president of NSC to hand over to a female president. Engineer Tasiu Sahad Gidari Wudil, FNSE MNI. Vice President, you have all been introduced, and I recognize you. National Exco members, you are all recognized. And let me now recognize the chairman, national chairman of NICE, Engineer Tokumbo Ajanoku, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, who is ably represented by immediate past national chairman. Of course, the deputy national chairman is here as well. And then, when I was coming in, I saw somebody, and I was very excited to see him, a former vice president of the society, who served for 3 terms as vice president, Engineer Yakubu Garba, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Incidentally, just like my husband, is an engineer and a spouse. So, how is my sister? So his wife is an engineer too, and a fellow. So that's why I said, like my husband is an engineer and a spouse. So at the spouses forum, I'm sure they will refer to him as engineera. The female spouses are engineeresses, and the male spouses are engineeras. Distinguished fellows here present, corporate members, very distinguished guests, participants at this all-important workshop, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great delight that I join you today at this all-important occasion, the Build Right Workshop, which is being meticulously organized by the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, North Central Coalition. I didn't know what that meant, but I'm sure that you will explain it to me before I leave. I wish to commend the Executive Committee and members of NICE for their continued commitment to capacity development through high-impact programs such as this. Your dedication to professional excellence and the advancement of engineering practice in Nigeria is commendable, as it is critical to national development and one of the 5 pillars of the NSC strategic agenda. The theme of today's workshop, Build Right, Build Safe, a collaborative approach to preventing building collapse, is both apt and pressing, not just urgent. It speaks directly to one of the most pressing issues in our built environment. The increasing incidences of building collapse in our country demand serious introspection and concerted action from all stakeholders, particularly NICE. I'd like to appreciate the distinguished speakers and resource persons who, despite their busy schedules, have honored our invitation to lend their voices and share their insights on this crucial subject. Your presence underscores the importance of this dialogue and the collective responsibility which we bear. I also warmly acknowledge the presence of our partners, stakeholders, fellow professionals, and international collaborators here today. Your involvement affirms the collaborative spirit that this workshop advocates, one that cuts across disciplines and institutions. As we engage in meaningful discussions throughout the course of this workshop, I urge all participants to contribute actively and constructively. Let us identify the root causes of building failures and chart pragmatic and implementable solutions. And more importantly, I call on all relevant authorities, institutions, and professionals to ensure that the outcomes and recommendations of this workshop are not only documented, but diligently implemented in the interest of our country, our profession, and most importantly, the safety and well-being of our citizens. National Engineering Conference and Annual General Meeting. I believe that by now, everyone here who is a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers would have registered for the 2025 National Engineering Conference and Annual General Meeting, which is scheduled to hold from 1st to 5th December 2025 at the International Conference Center of University of Ibadan. In case you have not, I urge you to do so. The theme of the conference is Engineering Innovation for Sustainable Blue Economy. I look forward to receiving you all with your spouses at the flagship event, where over 6,000 practicing engineers in the academia and industry, as well as other development stakeholders, policy formulators, captains of industry, and entrepreneurs are expected to converge. The conference also has a grand exhibition for industry players in various sectors of the infrastructure value chain to showcase products and expertise to the world. I therefore encourage you all to visit the conference website, or better still, visit the membership app, the NSC membership app, to access more information, register for the conference, and of course, also clear your subscriptions. On this note, I'd like to wish everyone here happy independence. Nigeria was 65 years yesterday. After 65 years of independence, I am sure that everybody knows that the role of engineering cannot be pushed aside. And we, as engineers and major stakeholders, need to continue to collaborate with other stakeholders, really, in other sectors, to ensure that we continue to move the entity called Nigeria forward. And we continue to pray for the nation and its leaders. May God continue to guide us all and bless us as we collectively move Nigeria forward. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, so quickly, we'll take a group photograph. The president, the conveners, the national chairman of NICE, represented by Engineer Tanko Jang. Our vice president, corporate services, Engineer Dr. Nena Agubata, FNSC. You are welcome. I didn't pick you from where you were sitting. And the executive secretary of NSC, Engineer Abubakar Halilu Muazu, FNSC. So let's arrange. Or can we get some seats quickly? Okay, nice, stay here. Thank you very much, Madam President, for coming. Thank you, our Vice President, Engineer Ibrahim Aliu Dusima, FNSC. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we'll quickly conclude the last session and then go to our panel discussion. Yes, Prof, you can just give the summary now so that we can go into panel discussion immediately. I'm sure you will still have to conclude it from that side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, please. Sorry, the slide. Can you bring the slide up? Okay. Well, welcome back. I think the politics is also very important as engineers. So let's continue with our academy, technical, and leave the politics to the politicians. So as I was saying, there is a need for government to step up, its role if we want, as mentioned earlier, the solution to building collapse is not just one single solution that only affects engineers. There are a lot of stakeholders, and that's why, the solutions is covering not just what the engineers will do alone, but even other people in the professional built environment, as well as the government. So there's need for to enhance penalty, for offenders. When people design a building and they are very reckless in spite of their professional, ethics, they go and do rubbish. There should be a punishment for doing things wrong. There's also the need for us to embrace digital transformation. As I said, like for example, submission of our building design doesn't have to be this paper, moving paper from one office to the other as it is, very cumbersome. Sometimes, the process is so cumbersome that you don't even want to go there. You understand? But if it is, we embrace digital transformation. Maybe we have a website where you can upload your drawing. It can be vetted. It can be shared with all the people that need to see your drawing. That kind of seamless operation will encourage more people, to submit their drawings for vetting. Then, of course, adequate staffing. I know perhaps the enforcement unit of Koren, maybe if you go to that office, there's just maybe 5 people in all. Even Abuja alone, that number of staff may not be able to cover, not to talk of the whole country at large. So if we want to enforce, we have to be serious about it. We need more hands, to be able to do this. But there's nothing wrong with states also setting off parallel institutions that can also do those kind of regulatory checking. Then academic and industry collaboration. This cannot be overemphasized. It's very, very important. There are tons of research, going on in the academia. Many of them are gathering dust because, and even before those research are conceived, they should be targeted as solving a problem. But if we don't talk to each other, how do we know, the academia know that, okay, this is what the industry knows? So we need to be talking to each other more, so that we can conceptualize research that solve problems that affect us all. So research integration, university partnership, and more research on local material performance under Nigerian conditions. A lot of partial replacement of whatever in concrete. Many research the building people are doing it, the civil engineering students are also doing it. There are tons of them. Everyone wants to throw something into concrete, to solve the sustainability issue. But the question is, what of the structural integrity? But we need to talk to each other to be able to, more research is needed. Low-cost foundation solution, as well as integration of CPD programs, like NICE is doing very well. Then, of course, the engineering curriculum, again, that is an aspect of the academia. I'm happy Prof is here. You know, modern technology and codes, advanced geotechnical analysis, structural integrity audit, and crucial ethical training. All these are required. Then, of course, the public, again, whether you are not, if you are not an engineer, there's no problem, you have a role to play. What is the role? One, you have to say no to quacks. Sometimes that little fee you pay will save you a lot of trouble down the road, you know, but people are looking at the initial cost and they do all kinds of things. And then when trouble happens, people begin to regret. So then we have to carry this cost versus quality education to the people. People want to cut costs because they want to cut corners because they want to cut down costs. But we have to tell them the implication, the consequence of getting it wrong. You know, that what you are thinking you are saying, in the end, you are going to pay maybe double, triple of it. And God forbid, if life is lost, that is even, you can't pay for that. You know, so the cost is so much. And then, of course, the whistleblower. When you see things going wrong, don't just keep quiet. You should, so the public have a role in this. So the call to action, we meet in North Central region, a construction hub. Of course, Abuja is in North Central, and we know what is happening. This is the construction headquarters of the country. Maybe is only Lagos, maybe outside Abuja, it's only Lagos that can rub shoulder with what is happening in Abuja here. So we have a lot to do as professionals within the North Central. We have to embrace radical transparency, institutional peer review, and lead collaborative front with all the other built environment professionals. So building right is about striving for excellence. Building safe is a permanent condition of our work. We are the custodian of public safety. So let us now go forth and build right, build safe, for the sake of our nation. Thank you very much, and God bless the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineering.
Please, let's put our hands together for Engineer Professor Abdelhamid Mambo. Thank you very much, Prof, for that wonderful presentation. And apologies for the interruptions we had, the breaking transmissions while you were taking your, making your presentation. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we quickly go to the panel session. May I invite the moderator, Engineer Dr. Dominic Akubo, FNSE FNICE, to please come forward as he takes over this session. Thank you. Please, I want to shift.
Is it? Please permit me to adopt the already well-established protocol for want of time so that we will conclude within the stipulated time. We have come to the high points of this event. My name is Engineer Dr. Dominic Onu Akubo, a former chairman of NICE Abuja chapter, a former executive secretary of the institution, also a former acting executive secretary of the institution, and I'll be moderating this session. I am happy that we have Dr. Sule Jibrin representing the DG of NIBRI. We've had several engagements on this matter over a very long time, over a decade. It is now time for the panel discussion. Permit me to please begin to invite our panelists in this particular order. First of all, it is my privilege to usher to the high table the keynote speaker, the DG of NIBRI, Professor Samson Duna, ably represented by the Director of Building Research, Engineer Dr. Sule. A round of applause for him, please. Also permit me to also invite to the high table as a panelist, the guest speaker, Engineer Professor Abdulhamid Mambo. A round of applause for him, please. A round of applause for Prof. Do we have a representative of the Director of Development Control, please? If we don't, it will also be my privilege to invite to the high table Engineer Y.A. Garba, FNSE, from the Federal Housing Authority. He will join us, okay, because they perform similar roles, but with different jurisdiction. So he will join us as soon as he comes. Also, permit me to invite to the high table Engineer Dr. Tanko Jang, FNSE F-NICE, who is representing the National Chairman of NICE, and at the same time, he is the Chairman of the NICE Committee on Building Collapse. I want to believe that he will also join us very soon. Perhaps he's outside. MC, please take note. If both of them come, they should please join us. Also, to be ushered to the high table is Engineer Samuel Kolawole Akinweimi, a practicing civil structural engineer. Please join us as a panelist on the high table. Engineer Dr. Tanko Jang is around. He has been called to the high table. He is representing the national chairman, but in his capacity now as the chairman of the NICE Building Collapse Committee, he will be representing that committee as a member of this panel. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Engineer Samuel Kolawole, please have your seat there. Thank you so much. I believe Engineer Y.A. Garba will also have his seat as soon as he joins us. Also to join, this is a very important topic. On the high table, please, the representative of NIOB. I know we have about 3 persons here. The most senior person, thank you so much. A round of applause for her, please. That is the power of collaboration. There's no professional body that can do it alone. Thank you so much for coming. Also to join us is the representative of the Nigerian Institute of Architects. Do we have any present, please? Nigerian Institute of Architects. Okay, in absentia, please, a round of applause for them. I believe when they come, they will join us. So we have outstanding Engineer Y.A. Garba, and who? That's all, okay. Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Basically, in this session, we will be x-raying the papers that they have presented. And apart from the questions that I'm going to ask them as a moderator, we will also give chance for the audience to also ask pertinent questions so that they will address your concerns. Before I begin, I would like to advise that, please, I may be placing you on the hot seat. If I ask any question that you're not comfortable with, or any question that you feel may get you into trouble, please draw my attention. Because I'm going to be as blunt as possible. I'm sorry. When I was invited to moderate this session, I asked them, do you want me to moderate it truthfully? I asked that question before I was brought here, and the answer was affirmative. Okay? Thank you so much for those presentations that were made. The keynote presentation made by the keynote speaker, and also the guest speaker. They x-rayed the incidences of building collapse in our country, giving statistics where necessary. They also talked about the causes and the leading cause. The statistics were also laid to bear. The statistics was also laid to bear. Certain solutions were proffered. We're going to discuss more on them to see the practicality of the solutions. And also, we're going to look at some hidden causes. Now, when we talk about building collapse in Nigeria, it may interest you to know that from January till 25th of September, a minimum of 26 buildings have collapsed in Nigeria. That is in 2025 alone. And the bulk of these collapses actually occur during the rainy season, just like it was actually highlighted out by our keynote speaker. This has led to the loss of lives and properties of inestimable values. Each time we talk about building collapse, we all look at the construction stage without giving much attention to what happens before the construction, which is the pre-construction stage. Because there's this saying that he who fails to plan, plans to fail. Before we also begin, I'd like to make a very valid medical statement. And I want you to correct me if it is wrong. In medicine, is it right for me to make the comment that the operation was successful, but the patient died? Is it a valid statement? As much as you may have your say, in the medical field, it's a very valid statement. The operation was successful, but the patient died. But in the field of engineering, you don't have room to make such statements. That the building was constructed in conformity with what? Our codes and standard, but it what? Collapsed. If you are in a country like Korea, or in a country like China, immediately it's firing squad. You will, in fact, it is a prima facie case. In Nigeria, they say you are innocent until proven what? Guilty. But with that kind of statement, you are guilty until proven what? Innocent. Prima facie in law. Sorry for giving that background information. It's just to create and prepare our minds and create the enabling environment for us to discuss more. My first question will go to the DG of NIBRI. I am asking these questions because there is no representation from Director of Development Control here. By the way, when we discuss topics such as this, and we do not have development control represented here, and we do not have ages represented here, we are talking to ourselves. So we would want to urge that members of the press should please help us in getting the deliberations of this workshop to the general public, because not every stakeholder is supposed to be here is actually here. First question, pre-construction activities, seeking for approval and building permits. I am asking these questions because of some of my background. This is a topic that I hold so passionate that I have been advocating against for the prevention of building collapse since 2005. And I have kept diligent records in this regard. Presently, I happen to be a member of the Ministerial Committee on Building Collapse, domiciled with the Federal Ministry of Housing. I've also served in similar committee in development control and also belong to the same committee in NICE. Several of our engineers have actually complained to COREN, of which I belong to ERM committee there, that the people in development control are taking their jobs. When you do your design and you make your submissions, if you are not ready to play the game they want you to play, corruption, which was rightly highlighted by our guest speaker, all you keep on getting is objections, objections to what you have submitted. Even when you make the correction, it's objections of things that you know naturally should not even come up in the first place. Are there modalities that are put in place to ensure that all professional bodies are aware of all the requirements in terms of checklists for these approval bodies like development control, in terms of architectural, mechanical, structural, electrical? Are there mechanisms in place that are communicated to these professional bodies and to these professionals to ensure that at the point of submission, they actually meet these requirements, sir? Thank you. That's to the DG of NIBRI.
Yeah, based on these questions, I must put it this way, because we as a research institute, in most cases, we do not actually find out maybe how the structure is being put in place. It is only when there's a collapse or there's anything. Before now, we'll now go and investigate. But I don't know whether the development control have any mechanism put in place to checkmate this at the pre-construction stage. But we, as a NIBRI, what we do normally is to ensure that we investigate if there's a failure, and we'll advise, because all this one, the construction doesn't come to us. If there's anything they wanted to do, they don't come to us before they do their constructions. They only go to development control. All the approval goes to development control. Ours is when there's a problem, or we'll now investigate, we'll find out that there's an issue that is going to come up. Then we cannot investigate that. But for pre-constructions, we don't normally have an idea on what the contractors are going to do. And that is our positions at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, can I add a little? I think this is a very serious question. Dr. Dominic is bringing up. You see, in every state of the Federation, they have this development control agencies. Like most of the states, they call them development boards. Like in Plateau State, they call them the Jos Metropolitan Development Board. In the FCT is the AGs, or what do they call? Yes, AGs. They are being supervised, or they are being directed by the FCT administration. And they are the ones to check both the designs and then check also the construction sites. So like he said, actually NIBRI is saddled with the responsibilities of research, checking, investigating collapses, causes of collapses. So this very question for the FCT administration is being handled by the AG's office, where they have all those development control agencies and engineers. But the unfortunate thing is that in most of those agencies, you may hardly find required engineers or professionals that are handling those offices. I want to give an instance of my state. You will find out that even the general manager of such an agency may not even be an engineer. And then you know most of these agencies lack even professionals in the agency to even go out and supervise or check these documents. They don't even go even to the local government, because they have offices down the local government. And in those local governments, you see a works department being headed by sometimes not even a technical person. And this is where we in the build industry have to be honest to ourselves. Like Dominic said, we have to be honest. I cannot be, let's say, maybe I'm just a technician, and then I'm given a job of heading such an office, and I will take up the job, and I will begin to even maltreat the engineers that are there. Instead of coming up and now start requesting from the government that we need to have engineers, we need to have architects, we need to have town planners, and the rest. You just go there and, just because of the fancy of the office, you just be posting yourself. And when we have issues that you need to check, like building along water courses, you see building being approved anyhow, indiscriminately. So I think that is what I want to add on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, I will ask you one question. I think the appropriate person to have actually answered this question is development control. However, we have a representative of the Federal Housing, we have someone from the Federal Housing Authority on this panel. They perform similar functions but with different jurisdiction. So I think I will channel that question to him now that he's around. Sir, while you were not around, we talked about issues that could likely cause building collapse, not during the construction stage, but at the preliminary stages. And we said, he who fails to plan, plans to fail. And we gave an example of development control agencies. And we said there have been some reports from engineers about the difficulties they are having in getting their building plans approved in development control. And most times the complaint is that they are taking their jobs away from them. Because no matter how good your design is, by the time it gets there, they look for one or two comments to raise, which is not wrong, which is actually the process of vetting. But you see that even when you do the right thing, you continue doing it, they will still look for one or two things. And some of them are really not something that you can say is actually very technical. How do we arrest this trend to ensure that our works are not taken away from us? And in some cases, they are being told blatantly, hand over your design to us. It is a known fact. It is a clear fact. It's just that we don't want evidences to go out there. But as engineers, let us look ourselves in the eyes and talk to ourselves. What do we do as a professional body to ensure that this does not happen? And in most cases, people who are even causing this problem are engineers.
Thank you very much. I will answer the question and maybe do my own this thing. The truth is that, like he said, from sometimes 2001 up to last year, I have been involved in the vetting and approval of structural drawing where it concerns Federal Housing Authority. We have 3 approving agencies in Abuja. Development Control is one, FHA is one, and Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is one. We even tried at one time to come together 3 times to have a committee to harmonize our operations. But there is something that I will not want to say in public. They rightly said, some people are very difficult. It's not true. This is the second time I'm hearing this. It is not true that the approving authorities that used to are depriving others of their food, so to say. But let's tell ourselves the truth. I will answer your question. Who asked the question? I will answer your question. Let's tell ourselves the truth, please. You see, if we want to do engineering, let us do engineering. In my own office, under me alone, there are engineers, civil engineers, more than this number that is here in this hall. We are having this very important discussion here today. Look at this hall. I can tell you there are over 10,000 civil engineers in Abuja. But look at, they are not here. Then tomorrow something happens, you go and blame another person. I thank the person that even asked the question for bringing it up. We need to practice this profession the way it is supposed to be practiced. I can tell you I have seen 1,001 different designs. What the problem we're having today is that the Gen Z engineers, if there is anything like that. In structural engineering, you need to know the design, manual design first, before you go to computer. That's why when I was NICE chairman, any lecturer that come to show us, to tell us how to design with computer, he will first of all teach the manual one. Because it is the manual one that will tell you the computer, the software is even wrong. I have corrected so many softwares because computer is garbage in, garbage out. And immediately you make mistake in that garbaging in. Mistake in it will garbage out mistake. So please, the young engineers, the madam was not here. I have decided I will come back to NICE Abuja chapter. We will rebuild it. We will train young engineers. I'm about living service. If I could recall, late engineer Okumose was asking us then, in the 90s in Abuja branch, that he was as maybe one of the 4 people that could design bridge manually then. Please, I don't want to say, Okumose will say, please, I don't want to die with the knowledge I have. Let young engineers come, let me train them. Some of us who are trekking, we don't have money for taxi. We trek to his house to learn those things. So the young engineers should know, learn this thing, money will follow you. Don't think that you see us riding cars today, you think that we just come and buy a car. No, it's not true. Even this NSC, we were using our leg to trek and go and face notice of meeting in Federal Secretariat and other ministries because there were no SMS, no GSM, but this thing. So I will take this, there is a memo. I'm a council member of Koren, currently. I'm a current council member of Koren. The last presenter was making reference of Koren. I have noticed what you said, but I'm developing a memo to Koren, which will, in a way, solve this problem. I happened to present a position during the last council. And is NIA here, architects, are they here? NIOB is here, right? Yes. Right. There is something architects are doing, and I presented it even in the name of revenue generation. But I discovered that we can use it to solve this problem. For your drawing to be accepted, to be approved, you must register that you are drawing with Architects Registration Council. And they give you APR, what they call Architects Registration Council number. Now I went and interviewed, after my presentation at the last council, that we can leverage on that to be registering drawings so that we can get revenue. So, but at the back of it, when I went to interview architects on the needs, the reason why they are doing those things, they are not even looking at money. They are looking at any building with its address. They want to track who is the architect. So after I interviewed many of them, I discovered that we engineers can leverage on that and make our work easy, even the ERM. If we say any engineer, thank God, it's not only structural. Any engineer, any engineering design has to be registered in Koren. Not that Koren is not going to vet the design. You just send it and Koren will register it. We know that Engineer Garba is the person that designed so building in plot, so with the address. It's already in our system. We will go further to say whoever is also supervising. Before you erect your building, we write to development control. Before your building is erected, we want to know who is supervising. We also register the person constructing. So that we don't have this issue of when building collapse, we are looking for who is at fault. We already know who has those things. So by the time we do this, we discover that if maybe Koren see that you are approving, you are the one always sending drawing for registration, we now call you. You cannot be vetting and also doing the design yourself. There is one thing with structural engineering. All of us are engineers. No 2 engineers will do the same design. If you give us this building to design, 40 of us will come up with different design. It may be okay, but we will come up with different design. So you cannot satisfy somebody 100%. It's corruption. Let's say it. Let's say the fact. It is corruption that is eating this country. I heard the two presenters were talking of substandard material. Why substandard material when we have standard organization? We are not saying standard organization should go to the market. We are accepting something that I saw in this structural engineering. Still, If we say they are producing Y10 and it's 8, they are producing Y12 and it's 11, you don't let it come to the market. We want to hear that Standard Organization has closed down this factory for producing substandard steel. It shouldn't even come to the market. Before you bring your product to the market, it should be tested at the point of production. And if it's substandard, don't let it come to the market. But corruption has eaten deep into this country. As young as I was in 1997, when I realized that the then Benue cement, if you cast concrete with Benue cement, it will take 4 days before it's set. I banned Benue cement from Gwarimpa site. Then we were developing Gwarimpa. When we started developing, believe you me, the MD of Benue cement, I was very small, pupil engineer. The MD of Benue cement traveled from Benue to come and meet me. And I told him, I took him to site. I showed him, this is what your cement is doing. You remember we were building Gwarimpa, it was a kwa job during the military era. Then somebody will cast, he will wait for 4 days before you cannot even step on the concrete until it reached 4 days. The certain time was very important. And the man confessed to me. He confessed to me that yes, the person that was in charge of that particular aspect left the country. I said, why did you allow him to live with the knowledge? He's a white man. So if we can take this, the representative of Standard Organization is here. We are reaching the age that they used to call us senior citizens. We are now senior citizens. Me, I don't fear anything anymore at this age. Please let Standard Organization stop substandard material coming into the market.
Thank you.
Coming into the market, yes. Then the NIBRI.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. I want to, sorry, I have listed this and I want to. The NIBRI are doing well. If you check some of your reports, you will see my name. There was one time Professor Matawal went to a site. When I heard NIBRI were going to site, then I'll go myself and see what they are doing. And rob mines. And thank God, Professor Matawal will always quote and say, Engineer Garba said this. When you do, you submit to the regulatory authorities that this is what we see. If you do your investigation, send to Koren. We have seen that this is the engineer that did this, and this is what we discover. Then we take action. Koren cannot go and start taking action on if it's not reported. We have to know who is doing it. But with this, believe you me, Engineer Dominic and Engineer Sharaba, I want you to join me. I'm developing that memo. I'm sending it next week. Let us enrich it. Let us track whoever is responsible for design and construction on site. Lastly, the NIOB is here. Let us be responsible. Let everybody know his work. Greed is what is causing another problem. I'm a civil engineer. Somebody will come and meet me. He wants me to design a house for him. I would rather call an architect. I'm not a designer of house. I'm a structural designer. I'll call an architect. Architect, do your own. I'll call mechanical, electrical, do your own. I do my structural and get my money and go. But if you give maybe a builder or an architect or even quantity survey, you ask them, they will say they will do everything, including the supervision. Take your own. Let others take their own. It won't kill anybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's actually an interaction. Okay, it's actually an interaction, and it's so that we get to understand ourselves better and better while we are looking for what? Sustainable solutions to the problem on ground. So my next questions now go to the guest speaker, Professor Mambo. If you look around, anytime there's building collapse, the first point of call is to save life. In saving life, evidences are being tampered with. And even prior to investigation, you find out that scavengers have come to scavenge and salvage the reinforcement rods from a building that has collapsed, of which you are not even sure what the causes of the collapse are, of which the reinforcements may be one. Why? Because they want to go and recycle those reinforcements in Panteka. That's one. Also, if you look around, you see that there are so many trailers that are carrying scrap materials, and they'll be transporting them to what? Companies where they'll be melted, right? Whether all of these materials are suitable or not, we don't know. Whether they are sorted at the point of melting, we do not know. Also in the open market, the sizes of our reinforcements are actually not it. 16 mm may end up being 14.7. 12 mm may end up being 10.8, as again what was provided for in the design. What is your advice to Standard Organization of Nigeria? And what role can we play collectively to curbing this menace? Taking into cognizance that from information that was circulated in an SON conference held in NAF Conference Center last year, the DG stated that his staff strength is less than 1,550. And that includes administrative staff. Are they adequate to actually execute this mandate nationwide? And how can we join hands together to solve these root problems? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. The answer to this question could just amount to another lecture because there are so much. And again, some of the questions, I don't really have authority to, for example, what SON can do to, so whatever I'm going to give here is just an advisory. So once there's a collapse, that environment become an environment of interest. First, as you said, saving life is paramount, and that is why everything should be done to allow access so that life, any endangered human or animal within that collapsed structure can be recovered and saved. And even where that is not possible, at least they can be recovered to give them dignified burial. And that's why once there is a collapse, the only way we can cover this through public awareness campaign. We have a situation in this country where once there is any accident, people, curiosity, they are so curious, they will go and gather there. How many times we have heard of oil tankers, they fell and people start scooping the oil, or even some people just go to watch the people that are scooping the oil, and when the fire comes, it covers everyone. So I think in that regard, again, that is why part of the lecture, we mentioned the public have a role to play. So we have to continue this awareness campaign. People should know that when there are accidents, there are some important things there. Of course, you want to come and save life is important. But again, it's also important to allow the regulatory bodies to carry out, carry samples that they will take to their laboratories for further investigation. Of course, the first priority should be saving life. And while that is going on also, regulatory bodies should be allowed access to take the necessary sample for further investigation. So that I think is more to the public rather than to Standard Organization of Nigeria. But again, you mentioned about collecting scrap and then taking them to a company and then producing recycled steel. Well, there are a number of, I don't know, Nibri is in better position to tell us whether those recycled steel could actually measure up to the virgin steels, that are manufactured. We did our own, a few investigations in our laboratory at Nile University. And we find out as far as the thickness is, level is fulfilled, those steel can, to a greater extent, perform the work that the virgin steel can confirm. But as I said, the government body that can make a declarative, authoritative statement on that, we have it in Newbury, and luckily they have a representation here to give us. Yes. Okay, and Standard Organization.
Okay,
yes.
No problem. You want to say something, Nibri? Okay, you have an answer. Okay, thank you so much.
Like I said, sorry, I volunteered myself for a very long time. Anywhere there is collapse, I used to go there. And so I became probably a family member of development control. Just curiosity and to serve as an engineer, to save life and also to learn. There was a building that collapsed sometime in Gwarimpa, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I was involved in the ministerial committee. We investigated and also proposed solutions. Concerning scavengers coming to site to pick materials, to pick all those materials for sale, we have already made it a rule. As soon as the security agents reach site, they should cordon off the site. and it's being implemented. I have followed to see that, in 3 sites that there were collapse. After that, it was enforced. We said, because we have, for you to know, in FCT here, sorry, I'm giving you this information. When a building collapses, we have the development control, myself from FHA, we have civil defense, we have the fire service, NEMA, road safety. That's an emergency management agency, where it's a committee, even with military and police. Police are also involved. It's a very large committee. So it's in one of those meetings that we made it that, because that building that collapsed, while we were trying to remove somebody from rubbles, you cannot believe that some people have the audacity. They were removing transformer on that site, and they are thieves. I made police to arrest them, and they could not prove that they are. We called the owner came and said, he doesn't even know them. A whole transformer, they came, seriously, they were working electrically as if they are distant, and they are stealing transformer. So we made it that as soon as building collapsed, the security, when they reach there, cordon off the site. The only people that will be allowed are these people and regulatory agencies. If SON come, allow them. If NIBRI come, allow them. If FCDA come, allow them. And then any security agent. But scavengers, we have solved that problem in FCT. I don't know of other places. Like I will say again, Professor, my erudite professor, we don't want to see substandard material in the market. It shouldn't come to the market. It made me that if you give me job, in fact, after that collapse, I was also given the authority that I should supervise, I should be going around to supervise this thing. I mean, as soon as you start, if you bring iron, I will ask you, maybe you will be seeing, those in Nibri will be seeing a lot of people coming to Nibri to check iron, to test iron. Before you even cut the iron, go and test the iron and give me the result. And if it's substandard, you carry it away. We have to do this thing. If we want to do the engineering, we have to do it the right way. People, you see people pursuing money, all they are doing, get this money and leave the country. Sorry, I'll give you an example. In Gozape Apo, I stopped somebody from construction, an engineer. Later, I now received call from US. The person was introducing himself, that he's a Nigerian, he lives in US, he's the contractor of that side that I went and stopped. So I asked him, that what you are constructing, can you try that in US? He said no. I said, so why are you doing it in Nigeria? Are we not human beings? That made me so angry that I made sure that he removed everything and did it the right way. And when he now entered the country, he called me and thanked me. So we have Nigerians like this. You come to Nigeria, do substandard work, get money, and run with your family to US to go and live where they will not accept what you are doing here for us. We really have to wake up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just a moment, okay. Please. You see, what we are doing here is very, very important. We from the North Central, we should look at areas or industries that produces materials we use on our sites. And then if we have issues, like the moderator said, all those rubbles that trucks do carry, most of them goes beyond the North Central. They go to somewhere around the southeast, the south, and all whatnot. But the question is this. Standard organization, don't you check the source of raw materials of some of these producers, like iron, like the cement he has talked about? At least standard organization should be able to carry out some tests on the raw materials. The raw materials cannot be the scavenged materials from our refuse dumps to be the raw materials for steel. Is very, very disappointing. So Standard Organization of Nigeria, I don't even know whether that organization is still existing like before. Before, in fact, if you go to that office, you see a lot of activities, but it's like the whole thing has completely collapsed. They are no more carrying out. They're supposed to know the source of raw materials for our steel, raw materials for cement, raw materials for most of the materials we use in our construction site. And those are the two basic materials we use, iron and cement. So we cannot say all these materials that they are picking from all these refuse dump to be the raw materials for iron. No. Raw materials for iron, we know that they have to get it from the appropriate sources. So Standard Organization of Nigeria have a lot of work to do.
Thank you so much. I will try to manage my time now so that the audience can also have a say. NIOB, I will get to you, Engineer Sam. NIOB, we are partners in progress. Now, one of the contributing factors of building collapse in Nigeria is quackery, where all manner of people call themselves engineers, builders, architects, whereas they were not formally trained to actually perform those trades. Please, in your own considered opinion, how can quackery be effectively curbed and on a collaborative basis in Nigeria towards preventing the incidences of building collapse? Yes, NIOB, thank you.
Okay, thank you, my moderator. I think one of the ways of curbing it is part of what we are doing right now.
Okay.
This collaboration.
Yeah.
We have members that need to be trained, and then quackery is something that I think if we look at the population of people that build in Abuja, you'll be surprised that more than 50% are not professionals. More than 50% of buildings being constructed in Abuja are not by professionals. Like the Nigerian Institute of Building, we train members. And then before you become a member, you have to pass through exams, just like every professional body here. And right now, our Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, we are doing something like one of the presenters mentioned that engineers are doing. The COBON, we now have a platform called BOOMAP, that's Builders Management Portal Dashboard, where only registered builders are. So if you need a professional to build for you, you can go and check. Any of you can easily check on BOOMAP. But the problem we have in the country right now is that most people use the Nigerian factor. My brother can build, my sister can build. I've been working with this my mason before them born me. He's been there. This person, I was told he's the one that built Nikon, you understand? So, but with this collaboration we're having now amongst ourselves, we end up respecting ourselves more, and then together, we'll be able to let the public know that, look, you can't just pick anybody on the road to come and supervise your structure. You need professionals. And it's easy getting these professionals. Thank God for social media and IT. With IT, like the BOOMAP is an IT thing. You can just go online and check. So, and every other professional body is doing the same thing. So it's just for us to, let me say, enlighten people. Everything still boils down to enlightening the public about making use of professionals, why you must use professionals. And I believe, just like NIOB, it's not easy just being a professional. Yeah. You have to pass through stages of exams and trainings.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So awareness, sensitization, engagement of the public, not just in English language, but in the language that they understand best. And jingles, radio jingles, television jingles, flyers, leaflets, these are areas where we can collaborate, and joint workshop and joint trainings like this, and also training for artisans and craftsmen and technicians. So these are the ways that we can solve that quackery problem. I know Engineer Sam has been itching to speak, so let me put you on the hot seat, sir. As a civil structural engineer, by some codes that we have, developed by the Standard Organization of Nigeria, a 6 inches block is supposed to have a strength of about 1.5 Newton per millimeter square. to be used for internal walls. A 9 inches wall is supposed to have 3 or 3.5 Newton per millimeter square, majorly used for external walls. In view of what we have in the market right now, many of our blocks do not meet the standard specifications because the web thickness does not represent what the code actually specifies. In fact, because of the cost of cement, they have gone to, modify their molds. And most times the water they even use is not clean water. It's water from what? From the gutter. And sometimes these are water that so many houses upstream empty their soakaway and septic tank into. How can this industry be effectively regulated that people have value for their money? That is question number 1. Question number 2, there have been incidences of earth tremor in the last decade in Nigeria. One happened in Kwai in Kaduna State. Another one happened very close to us here in Katankwe. Do you think that these isolated incidences should inform us to begin to think of how to design our foundations to withstand these incidences, especially in the areas and the circumference within which these incidences were recorded? Over to you, sir.
Well, let's start with the blocks. We need to create our standard. We still rely on now the latest code is Euro Code 2. We're still, formerly we have been using BS 8110. Before that was CP 110. Now, we need to enforce standards. Everybody is making blocks. The mold you have been using for 5 years, you have not checked whether it's still square. That's why if you make up walls, you see some walls are not straight. They are not, if you plaster them, you will not get, it's not aligned. Because if you check the molds, they are not aligned. Then we need to have explanatory notes. Because most of these people producing blocks are laymen. And you will be angry that you see someone like JB now in their Idu yard, they are manufacturing blocks themselves. These are value chains which can be given to other people to do and produce for them while they concentrate on some other things. We need to give explanatory notes. Like, if you look at those who are earlier in the civil engineering, there's something they call man-on-the-job manual, produced in Britain. It gives you explanatory how to do things, even swimming pool, this, but we are not having those explanatory notes. Those publications are no more available. Because I started my practice in the consulting. And I was exposed to all these materials. But the new generation, I don't think they ever see these materials. So we need explanatory notes to copy that and also explain. NSE too has a role. NSE needs to pull all these resources that are hanging out there, get a library, put out positions of practice. When I was in university, I always put out position of practice. There was a time I read on bearings in England to say, the bearings of these bridges in England is going to cost us. They were giving government advisory notes. You understand? So let me don't. Then the other question is
earth tremor.
Earth tremor. Now we have agencies settled to monitor this earth tremor. While I was in school in Ibadan, there was a tremor in Ibadan. Who is keeping records to say and predict that in the next, because of these activities, there will be this? Now we have everybody's digging borehole. And boreholes too contribute. I might be right, I might be wrong. But we need data. Who is keeping data? I think we have a geological agency. They are supposed to bring out data and say, oh, based on this tremor that just happened in Abuja, please, I knew that they stopped some things, but Nigerians, we are not consistent. Now, I was on a building, a multi-story building. The person that designed that mass concrete for the foundation. I told him, sir, because in Abuja, everything is mass concrete, does not mean you use mass concrete. What about if there was earth tremor or if the quality of something? Sometimes our designers too needs to look at constructionability. What I'm designing, will it give me quality? Let me shorten that story. I championed it because that it should change from mass concrete foundation to piles. He said, no, they don't use piles in Abuja. I said, read the soil reports. The report is showing you that you are having fractured rocks there. We did so many, like 3 meetings, confirmatory survey, we did reconciliation survey. At the end of the day, he used pile. Do you know that not long after they used pile, there was a tremor along from Katankwe down there. So we also need the agencies to do their job, provide necessary data. NSC should give advisories to say, please this, though I know some of the institutions, some of the divisions give advisory.
Thank you
also,
very much.
let me lastly, then we the professionals, we need to go for enlightenment courses. Go for all these divisions training. NI Structure is doing, NICE is doing, but we the professionals need to go to continuous development. How many of us know that we are now changing from BS 8110 to Euro Code? Most people are not aware. And we started notifying them to say, change from BS to Euro Code 2? No. So we need to upgrade ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Time is against us. I am made to understand that we have a representative of SON here. You know, you cannot barb a man's hair in his what? Absence. So they have a right to at least respond. But however, it is an interaction. All we are doing is to try to look for what? Solutions towards this menace that is confronting not just engineering, but all members of the built environment. So on this note, I want to, sorry there's no seat here, but you can speak from where you are, recognize the presence of Eyamba Asukwo Eden from the Standard Organization of Nigeria. After you speak, the DNC will speak. Engineer Valerie will speak. Okay, let Engineer Valerie speak. Then you will speak, DNC will speak, then we'll take 3 questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm sorry I came late. It's because I had some other engagement, because I heard about this program since I wanted to be here. But very interesting conversation. I'm going to take it from just one aspect. About up to 2010, I was a quality control engineer. I was acting as a quality control engineer. And one of the things we knew was that right from that time, we are talking of now, the reinforcement we have in the market have never been what you expect. And so when I was working, because I used to do my test, ABU Zaria, NMDC JOS, or the Polytechnic, Cardinal Poly. Those were my sites for testing. And the reinforcement have never been correct. Now they are worse. If you say 10, you are looking for maybe 6.9, 7.8. It's not, you say 10, maybe you get 9. No, you can never get 9. So what were we doing then? You educate civil engineers, especially those in design, to design with what is in the market. Because the person who is constructing believes they are bringing 12 mm. And that is what is going to approve. But if you have designed because you know what is in the market is 10.2, instead of using 4, you are telling them to use 6 or 7, then you are sure you are avoiding building collapse in future. So for me, taking it from that angle, because if you say Son, he said something. Son told us they have 1,700 workforce. To serve how many Nigerians? 200 and something million Nigerians. How many construction sites do you have in Nigeria? I'm sure over 10 million. In Abuja here alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you are expecting a miracle from Son, then we're far from it. So, but what can we do to avoid that picture you have there? Let's face reality. Quality control is very, very important. As engineers, we can't do without it. So you and I also need to begin to bring up laboratories for training, for testing, I mean. We need to work on it. We have ignored quality control in a very long time. And that is one reason, one way we can solve this menace of construction failure, right? Then secondly, Son and what we can do with Son is collaboration. We have the technical knowledge. We should now have an MOU, nice, as a division, let me put it that way, because every other division has to do it. Because when we look at other mechanical equipment and all, they also have that problem. I don't know if the sound person is here. I remember when we were talking about wheelbarrows, even the wheelbarrow. You see now that you buy a wheelbarrow, by the time you put expected load, what happens? Thank you very much. So you see that even in mechanical, the little things we have, everything is going the wrong way. So as engineers now, I believe we must have an MOU with SON to look at some of these areas and make corrections. Then the last one I'm going to talk about, NSC has always challenged divisions to come up with our standards. I don't know if any division has been able to submit any standard. At a time, they said any division ready to do it, we give you seed money because you need to do a lot of testing, a lot of analysis, and NSC was ready to give a seed money at that time of 500,000 to start with. I don't know if we have any division now that has submitted a localized standard for what we are doing. We need to get there, because if we continue to depend on the standards we are using, and knowing the kind of market we have right now, we might never get to a place where we can beat our chest to say we are sure of our buildings. So we need to develop our standard based on what we have. Gone are those days that the market was not flooded with fake items and inferior materials. So Built Environment Association should be able to come up with standards on what we can do. Then lastly is what Engineer Sama just said. Advocacy is important. We can't keep talking to ourselves, because right now in this hall we are talking to ourselves. Beautiful discussion, beautiful topic, not central. I give it to you, but we can't keep talking to ourselves. We need to bring in the people that matter. The Director General or Director of AGs has to be here. Director of Development Control has to be here. Even the security agencies have to be here, because they are going to help us in curbing this thing. No, I know you are here, but officially, you understand what I mean. So, but like I said, beautiful topic, but please, can we have a repeat of this, where we will do a lot of advocacy and bring in the people that need to sit in this hall, so that when we are coming out with a communique, we are beating our chest that anybody that is found wanting in this area, this is the repercussion. And I think if we do that, I mean, we'll all be better off for it. I want to say congratulations again to NICE North Central. Please, let's do this again with a larger audience. Thank you so much.
And on this note, and before she leaves, let me officially introduce her to this event. Ladies and gentlemen, a past vice president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers 3 times, Engineer Valerie Fueko Agberagba, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, General Manager, Generation, Niger Delta Power Holding Company of Nigeria. You're welcome, ma'am. And thank you for that wonderful contribution. Thank you.
Just on a lighter note, my first daughter is named after her, Valerie. My daughter is named after her, Valerie. And my last born is named Otis. Thank you so much. So please let SON respond, then the DNC will speak, then we wrap up. Thank you, sir. Please give him the mic. Thank you. She has made your work easy. She has answered some of your questions. So you have 2 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. Good afternoon one more time. My name is Iyamba Idemasuko. Actually, I got this invite very late. So as we are saying here, bidding rights for this workshop, actually, yes, we know that XON play a very vital role. And I have to look at the area of the advocacy, because at the same time, she has speak a very vital thing in the sense that we cannot capture the whole place because of the manpower we have on ground. That's the truth. So what I'm trying to look at is that sometimes when we have this bidding collapse, what we normally do is that we tell people around, please, there's an hotline number you can call us through. So at least we can get there and pick samples. But most of the times when we get to those places, those samples have been taken, those materials have been taken off from the scavengers. So in the area of advocacy, I think not only SON can do that alone, even individuals, can also play a vital role. Like we also have what we call street on feet. We tell people, whatever information you have, let us know so that we can also take action in this case. Then in the area of monitoring and evaluation, in terms of to monitor, there's what we call, we go for factory inspection to check all those products. So at the same time, we have what we call the MANCAP certificate and SUNCAP certificate. For those who are producing in Nigeria here, we try to go to their factory to look at the area of quality assurance, look at if those products are conformity to our own standards, to see how we can also work alongside with them. Then for the issue of the SUNCAP by importing products, so that is where the challenge is always there, because most of the times when you get to the port, SON is not fully in charge of the port sometimes. So what we do is that at the point of coming in, we check those products. If the certificate, if what the material there meets the requirements of our standards, then we tend to bring those products in. Then also companies to also have their own standards. So they come to us, we work together with them and see if those standards should align with ours too. So we can say how we can produce a very good quality product. Then in the area of the building collapse we're talking about here, yes, definitely SON has a very vital role to play, because this issue of cement and the blocks, mixed ratio is always the problem here. Because sometimes when you go to the site to inspect them, one bag should produce either 40 blocks of cement, or 35, 30 or 35. But at the end of the day, you see them producing 50, 45. Then the curing process is another thing again. Yes. Curing in 7 days. But those people, at the end of the day, 3 days, started giving that to people for sales for people. So those are things we always try to monitor them. And also, for the issue of the iron rod, Y16 and Y10 and Y12, most of the times, they go for this Panteca iron. So when we go there and check, this iron is not a real iron. They say, okay, yeah, this is what? We said, no, remove this iron. This thing might end up causing collapse at the end of the day. So those are challenges we tend to face them, in the marketplace like that. Even in the consumer side also, we also have issues with them. So a lot has been played by SON role, but at the same time, we can't capture the whole market space. So we need where people have to also play a role to also get advocacy for us to make it more easier for everyone to live for.
Thank
you
so much. Thank you. A round of applause for him. Thank you. We have quite a lot of engineers who are employable that can join hands with SON to further your mandate. Just help us. So I think Nice will take it up from here. You want to say something?
The SON, please. I want to stand up and say this. What we are saying, go to a larger steel company. Anywhere they are producing steel, from the source, please say this thing. Anywhere they are producing steel, they should have laboratory and make sure that anyone that is produced substandard should not come to the market. We want to hear that standard organization has closed down so-so factory because they are producing substandard material. You see, what we are lucky in Nigeria is not only standard organization. We don't punish. People go do things and go scotch-free with it. But if you close down 1, 2, 3 factories based on that they are producing substandard material, they will sit up. Thank you.
Please, let me just add one thing.
Thank you.
Please,
okay.
let me just. SON, yep. What is the latest standard, Nigerian standard? For steel? Yes. What year? What year, sir? 2017. Charity must begin from home. You need to see, we should see you taking the lead. Then we all go. One thing is that I did my final year project on steel. I went to SON. In your office in Lekki, your standards were not updated. You understand? You need to update your standard. You need to do regular monitoring of all those steel industries in Odogunyo. I was there. Then you need to collaborate. You know the market. The market is dominated by Kwara indigenes. Speak with them. Put them into a cluster. And work with them. I did my steel. I did my project. I was crying because I went to your office as far back then as 2006, 2000. I was crying. You could work with universities. University of Lagos tests steels on a regular basis. Have you taken the data from there? Have you analyzed the data? So when you are talking that you don't have manpower, but what have you done with the little manpower you have?
Thank you very much. A round of applause for them. A round of applause for them. It's noted. It's noted. It's noted. It's SON.
Excuse me.
Okay, after the DNC, you say something.
Okay. Yeah, on the final note, just
Thank
briefly.
you.
Oh, okay.
The truth is, he may not even be able to answer us here because there are so many cadres of people above him, so he may not be able to answer to what we are doing here. Yeah. I want to observe that if we put the energy we are putting into tax matters, tax, in this country, if we put the energy we are putting into tax matters, into the built environment, I am sure there won't be any collapse in this country. If there is any, it will just be maybe once in a while. We were in Denmark. NICE was in Denmark, in Copenhagen, very recently. And I personally asked them, do you ever have building collapse here? Because we went to their Ministry of Social Services and so on, that's in charge of building. And then they told us, yes, but they could not even specifically remember when the last one happened. No wonder they are almost the leading country, almost the leading country in sustainability. So we need to do things the way they should be. So I say, if we put the energy we are putting into tax matters in the built environment, things will be far, far, far better. And then Standards Organization of Nigeria cannot reduce it to that they have about 1,500 staff. I beg to disagree. We have professional bodies all over the country. NICE alone has 33 chapters. And then in some of our chapters, when I was chapter chairman at Warri, we wrote them up to the state government that we are offering ourselves to help in cross-checking designs even before they are executed. We were blocked because somewhere along the line they thought that maybe we won't allow it to be business as usual. Should it be so? So Standards Organization of Nigeria, NICE alone has 30, almost in every state of Nigeria. So I don't want to be part of, we have 1,500 staff. There are so many. Our senior colleague here, Engineer Garba, just told us that he has been a volunteer. And then he's doing quite well. There are so many of us who are ready to volunteer and help in making sure that things are properly done. But, you know, when we talk, sorry, I must pour my heart today, you know. When we talk like this, that the Minister for Works must be an engineer, they keep saying it's an administrative position that anybody can do it. It's a lie. I don't know who son MD is. And, you know, these things, they contribute when we are not putting round pegs in round holes. It has a way of affecting the thing down the line. So I don't know who the MD is, but we just have to make sure that proper professionals are put in position so that the right things are always done. Then collaboration among professionals. You see, there is an association of professional bodies in Nigeria. I happen to be the Secretary General nationally. And all we do is please stop where your profession stops. I know that as an architect, you did some elements of design. But can you design it as good as a structural engineer? You can't. I know that as a structural engineer, you can do some architectural designs. But can you do it like an architect whose training is that, and the same thing round? So I know that in the built environment, collaboration is not one of the things that we take very seriously. Look at the panel now, panel of 6. if I take the best of every one of them and combine it, you know that we get the best of the best. But if we keep working solo as we do, we can only get the result of working solo. So I want to encourage interprofessional collaboration. It's very important. Architect must respect the structural engineer, irrespective of the fact that he's the principal when it comes to building. He's the principal consultant. But does it matter? You need the services of a quantity surveyor, you need the services of... So we must respect one another so that things will go well. And then domestication of codes. Thank God that NIBRI is represented here because, Prof, you were there when I was moderating the session in World Council of Civil Engineers. And people on the panel with me said we have already domesticated codes. And I am a member of code committee, code drafting committee in NICE, and some other, even in structure, NICE structure. I have not seen anyone that is totally ready. The closest we came to it was some years ago when we tried, domesticated it somehow, but then it has not gone through the geopolitical zones for it to be defended, and finally for standard organization to approve it. So I'm surprised that even many senior colleagues in that meeting were saying that we already have a domesticated Nigerian code. So it means it was done without even me knowing. And I'm secretary of the committee in NICE. So NIBRI man is here. Do you have codes in your office? I know there can be. It may just be few standards here and there, but we do not have what we call domesticated Euro code for Nigeria. It's not anywhere. It's not. But it's very important that we work assiduously on this so that we get it right. Then finally, I also saw what NIBRI gave, and they classified in percentages. 35.38 failures because of substandard material. 21.54% because of geotechnical investigation. 13.85 because of faulty design. 10.76 because of aging. 10.78 because of poor workmanship. 7.69 because of non-compliance. And looking at all this, I like to reduce it to only one: qualified supervision. Because if we have qualified supervision on our projects, which I term as the most important, he will be able to know that what is supplied to his site is 10.5 mm instead of 12 mm. And right there where he's standing, he does the conversion because of area of steel and use it. But when we do not have qualified supervision, what happens? You are running helter-skelter because you don't have 12 mm. Must it be 12 mm? If it is 10.5 mm, you convert it, and then the number of lengths you are laying will increase, and it will still do the job. So the most important thing to me, and my personal takeaway from here, is supervision, qualified supervision, irrespective of the percentages we have here. We cannot be blaming materials. We cannot be blaming, no. Just have qualified supervision on the site, and he will be able to do the needful. I want to say thank you for this.
Thank you so much. The DG NIBRI will now wrap it up. Then we have a group photograph session here.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Just before I made my point, I wanted to just clarify one or two things. Where Prof was saying maybe we should confirm whether the recycled materials are good or not. Us, we may not directly know because it is only when the material comes to us that will test to know whether it is good or not. So we wouldn't know whether this material is from recycle or no recycle. It's only when we test it, then we'll now know that, okay, yes, this material is good or not. Having said that, before I make the comment my colleague said of materials, I want to bring to your notice that we as in NIBRI, when we're talking of material, we're not only talking of reinforcement. The cement, you may be surprised, we have a research where we take about 10 brine of cement, only one conform to the standard. The remaining 7 don't conform to the standard. So if you fall a victim of maybe going to that substandard cement, you also have a failure. Okay, yeah, so you find out that a lot of things contribute to this failure, and when we're talking of materials, and that's why we emphasize on the fact that we need to test the material no matter the situations. We should try as much as possible with any material that comes to us, we should be able to test them and know how it is. One of the basic things that we need to know, especially basically about the building collapse, is our foundations. Test the soil, because all these things you are putting under soil. If you like, have every materials. If you didn't test the soil, where all this material is going to light on it, you will have a problem at the end of the day. So we encourage everyone to ensure that before you put any structures on ground, test the soil, because this is what is going to carry it. So that at least at the end of the day, you'll be sure that what you are putting on the ground is going to carry it. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for them. Please, you will now step down for a group photograph. Okay.
Before the photograph, SOL, if you put that you want to employ people, you put advert for employment. From now, before 12 midnight, you will get 10,000 applicants.
And it's not good you only wait to check the materials in the market. You have to check the materials where they are being produced, so that you know whether they are producing those materials in line.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, please, okay. You have the audience.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, ask your question very quickly, please. If you have written it, give it to me. If you have written it, give it to me. Adeleke, you have the floor. Adeleke, you have the floor. Okay, audience. Okay, sorry, sir. Okay, will you permit them to be taking the picture and be answering you, please? Yeah. So, Adeleke, 1. Who has another question? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I have questions, but because of time,
Okay, 6, 7. Okay, the DNC, please join them. All chapter chairmen, please join them. Our rapporteur, Professor Adejumo, please join them from Mina. Vice Chairman, nice Mina chapter. So please, all the chapter chairmen, join them. If you are a former chapter chairman here also, please join them. Former chapter chairman, please join them. Thank you. Okay, now they will sit down in the audience and take your questions. Engineer Deleke, have you asked your question? Okay, start, please. Question number 1. Please give him the mic, please. Sorry, we want to wrap up, but at the same time, we need to take your concerns. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Mic check.
when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? In the built environment, talk of the list of the equipment you can find on site. They are not up to standard. You get just a plumb. You buy a plumb from market. You see a lot of error. You buy ordinary saw, before you can even saw a wood, the handle is broken. I can count on and on and on and on. You get a nail, 2 inches, 1 inches, all faulty. What is standard organization doing to make sure that all of these things are well taken care of? After collapse, you run to the site to take sample. Why is it that from the source, that cannot be addressed? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. I first of all want to thank our guest speaker. They have really done justice to the topic. However, as we are saying we want to build right, I want to employ all of us that we should be ready to do things right. That is fundamentally where the issue lies. Once we are ready to do everything right, either as a structural engineer, all those involved as far as building construction is concerned, especially even the agency that you are saying they are expected to monitor, the engineer that is supposed to supervise. So as we are clamoring that we should build right, then we should be clamoring that all parties involved in building construction should also be ready to do things right. Then, secondly, the major issue where we are finding difficult to do things right also lies on our government. So the moment, because all these things, politics is involved. So as long as the government is not ready to support us, then it's going to be very difficult for us. There is no way we want to enforce without the intervention of government vis-a-vis the policy. So all what is happening, all the root cause, we all know it. But the challenge now is on the government to be on our part.
Thank you.
Probably maybe because most of us, we are not into politics. So by the time we have our people at the end of our affair, I think we should be able to get things right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take those questions, but we want to just pause a little, have some activities, take your question, and then we continue. So I now invite Engineer Adeleke Shola, Ayanronke, MNSC, MNICE, to come for some award presentation. Thank you very much. Quickly.
Thank you very much. Our darling MC is Engineer General. That is his name. Please, I want to call on the representative of the national chairman, our past national chairman, is a father to all, Engineer Dr. Tanko. We appreciate you. Engineer Dr. Tanko Jang. Please, a round of applause for him. Please, I want to call on the lead speaker. He was here now. He stepped out. Okay. What about the paper presenter, Professor
Mambo?
Mambo.
No, please.
He's outside. I saw him. They are coming.
Let me bring.
Okay. Okay, can we have the Deputy National Chairman? Please, I know you'll be surprised. We want to sincerely appreciate you. Can you please come up? Thanks for your support towards this program. We so much appreciate you. Yeah, it was just 2 weeks plan. They gave us just 2 weeks, and 2 weeks, I mean, and he really supported us, seriously. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Please, where's the microphone? Thank you.
This award of excellence is being presented to Engineer Professor Samson Duna, FNSC, FNICE, in recognition of his exceptional contribution as the lead speaker at the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers workshop. That's a coalition of the North Central chapters, themed Building Right, Building Safe, a collaborative approach to preventing building collapse. This has been presented by NICE and it's been signed by Engineer Adeleke Shola, MNSC MNICE, Chairman NICE Abuja Chapter, dated 2nd of October 2025. Congratulations.
So the next person.
The next award is to Engineer Professor Abdulhamid Danjuma Mambo. Thanks for your support. We appreciate you.
Prof, you earlier disappeared in action. This is an award of excellence presented to Engineer Professor Abdul Hamid Danjuma Mambo, FNSC FNICE, in recognition of your exceptional contribution as the speaker at the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers workshop of the Coalition of North Central Chapters, team Building Right, Building Safe, a collaborative approach to preventing building collapse. And this is signed by Engineer Adeleke Shola on behalf of the coalition of the chapter chairman of North Central. This day, 2nd of October, 2025. Congratulations.
My convener, please come up to support them. Let them, please. Thank you. Okay. Please come to this side. This award of excellence is to Engineer Professor Sonny Emeka, the Deputy National Chairman.
Okay, no, I dropped yours for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, this special award of excellence is being presented to Engineer Professor Sonny Emeka Ali, FNSC FNICE, in recognition of your exceptional contribution at the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers workshop, the Coalition of the North Central Chapters, team Building Right, Building Safe, a collaborative approach to preventing building collapse, and is being signed by Engineer Adeleke Shola on behalf of the coalition, who is also the chairman of Abuja chapter. This day, 2nd of October, 2025. But I'm sorry, I will make this presentation in Kano. Okay, I'm making it here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of us who have questions, we'll take your questions and we'll send you the answers. Thank you very much. May I now invite the Chairman, Abuja Chapter of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Engineer Adeleke Shola Ayanronke, MNSC, M-Nice. Please put your hands together for her if you have enjoyed today's event, as she will be giving us the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Engineer General. You know, he belongs to all the divisions and chapters of Nigeria Society of Engineers. My presidents and chairman in council of NSC, national ESCOs that are here, my distinguished national chairman represented by our own father, our past president of NICE, National NICE chairman, respected elders of profession, my hard-working executive members of NICE Abuja chapter, past chairmen and ESCOs of NICE Abuja chapter, all chairmen of North Central, NICE, esteemed colleagues, invited guests, members of press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to stand before you to deliver the vote of thanks at the close of this important workshop. First and foremost, we give glory to Almighty God for granting us the grace to come together today and for the successful outcome of this event. We owe deep gratitude to our guest speakers, the late speaker, Professor Santi Duna, and paper presenter, our panelists and resource persons who have taken time out of their busy schedules to share their knowledge and practical insights with us today. Your presentations have not only enlightened us, but have challenged us to take concrete steps towards ensuring safer and more resilient structures in our society. To the leadership of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, both at the national level and across the North Central chapters, we sincerely appreciate your foresight in initiating this collaboration. The coalition is a true demonstration of what unity and professional commitments can achieve. We equally recognize the presence of our distinguished guests, government officials, regulators, academia, industrial partners, the media, and indeed all stakeholders here today. Your contributions and participation reflect the seriousness with which we must all approach the issue of building safely. A special word of appreciation goes to my darling husband, Engineer Heise Adeleke. That's the shoulder that do not allow the clothes to fall. Thanks for your support. Engineer Alabi Emmanuel Shegun, I appreciate you. He's a mechanical engineer, but he was there all through. I appreciate you. Our planning committee, volunteers for their dedications, my executive secretary, Engineer Boaz, we appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Hippolyte, I appreciate you. And my president-elect from Rotary Club of Abuja, Sokoro Diamond, SP Ogunyemi Tola, I appreciate you. Which ensures a special appreciation to my planning committees and my health schools and all volunteers for their dedication and behind the scene efforts, which ensured that this workshop was well organized and highly impactful. And to you, our participants, your young engineers, seasoned professionals, students, and practitioners, thank you for your active involvement and questions and your support. You are the reason we hold these engagements, and your commitment to building right and building safe give us hope for a safer built environment in Nigeria. As we depart, let us carry forward the lessons, the ideas, and the shared resolve from today's gathering. Together, we can prevent building collapses and safeguard the lives and investments of our people. Once again, thank you all, and may God bless you, bless our profession, bless the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, and bless our dear nation that we turned 65 yesterday. Thank you, and I wish all of us safe journey back to our various destinations. As a thoroughbred Yoruba, let me say nationalist, I say, Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, Dalu, Nagode. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, Agbao. Ladies and gentlemen, before we draw the curtain to a close, I'd like to recognize the chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Maiduguri branch, our very amiable engineer, M.B. Shetima, FNSC. Round of applause for him. He flew in all the way from Maiduguri to meet this event. Thank you very much. Special thanks to you from the Abuja chapter chairman of NICE. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you, and thank you especially for your time for joining this event. And to our online participants, can we have the pleasure of seeing them, please? And to my MC, thank you. All right, thank you all. Online participants, thank you. Can we please be upstanding? We shall recite the third stanza of the national anthem as our closing prayer, and then the national anthem. Together we pray, O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen. The national anthem. Thank you all very much, and safe journey. Thank you.